And welcome in as qualifying is underway here from Phoenix, the Diamond in the Desert, the Elite Racing Network. Tony Donahue, Rish with me as well as we look at the track facts for the Phoenix 250 coming up, the Mega Driver 86 IndyCar Series round number 5 on the season. 76 degrees, partly cloudy. Don't really have to worry too much about the wind. A new configuration since I believe the last time IndyCar actually raced on this track was now the back straightaway being what was the front straightaway and vice versa. A great race here as qualifying is well underway. And Rish, we will bring you in here. We should have a great one in store for us tonight here in the Phoenix 250.
Yeah, looking forward to this one. It's been just about 1 year since we last had the IndyCars here at Phoenix, but like you mentioned, completely different racetrack here. There you can see just at the top of your screen the new start-finish line coming out of what used to be turn number 2. If I'm honest, I still haven't gotten used to calling, old turns 3 and 4, turn 1 and 2 now. So that'll probably take a little bit of time here throughout this broadcast as well, I'm sure. But field just finished up qualifying, and we're going to roll through the starting grid here for you guys. It's going to be Adriana Pinheiro starting on the pole alongside Eric Troiano, Jari Brubaker, and Presley Sora, and then David Porcelli rounding out your top 5. Jared Rexing, Nicholas Sudik, Alexander Vandesant, your points leader, Nate Sefker, and Michael Hossack rounding out your top 10.
Yeah, and really here, Rish, as we know, as we kind of look towards the strategy of this race, just over a mile race course, a lot of green flag runs. I believe last year when the Elite Racing Network ran here, it was a race that didn't take long, right? It was just over an hour and a half, and that means a lot of lap traffic. So you've got to really hustle to get into that top 10. If you're somebody like Nick Vandergroot, Chad Frankenfield, who maybe had a disappointing qualifying effort heading into this race, there's, Forsyth's back there as well. We always kind of see him move his way up through the back. Musselman starting 12th. He's in pouncing position. So, as you see the starting field here, really I'm excited to see kind of how the different strategies played out. We saw that at Fontana, the big oval a few weeks ago. Long Beach as well when it stayed green flag for most of that race. So look for some of these guys to pit early if that first stretch of the race is well operated under a green flag, and then see what the leaders do as well, as we will more than likely see them maneuver through some lap traffic. Rish, if you want to go through the rest of this starting field here for us for tonight's Phoenix 250 in the Elite Racing League.
Absolutely. Well, we actually get going to green here pretty quickly because it's a 1 mile track. Actually, no lights out on the pace car, and I think we're going to roll straight around here to the start-finish line in just 1 lap's time. But one thing I wanted to note, and you talked about traffic, pretty big grid here today for a 1 mile racetrack. We're talking 30 drivers starting around here as the pace car does peel off. Adriana Pinheiro now in control of the field. We'll see. I would assume we're going to wait here and roll these guys all the way around outside of out of turns 3 and 4. But yeah, big field, traffic's going to be a big deal, and we normally expect these guys to run relatively clean over the course of the race. But let's take a look here. Pinheiro and Troiano leading the field to green. Look for Jari Brubaker to maybe make some moves here as well, starting right behind your pole sitter.
And it'll be interesting to see as the green flag comes out here, how long it takes for these guys to use that kind of dog leg. As you see right here, they'll dip a little bit under the yellow line. NASCAR uses it a lot. Sometimes with IndyCar, it can be dangerous. But a nice jump here early for Pinheiro, who takes over the lead. We've got some dicing for position up front from that second and third row as we come around to complete lap number 1 here. It's quick around this 1 mile track, as we learned.
Yeah, it goes by super quickly here. 250 laps tonight here at Phoenix. So Pinheiro, leads that first lap. Don't expect, I think, to be seeing drivers using that dog leg there. From what I saw in practice, it's going to be pretty tricky to get your car down onto that apron. You're in an Indy car where you have such a stiff suspension, you're probably actually not really going to benefit from going down there and upsetting the car. So these guys will run a little bit higher than what you're used to if you're an avid follower of NASCAR series and stock car racing. Those guys will go all over that. You see guys going all the way to that inside wall. But here in the Indy cars, you want to stay right up there on the banking because that's really what these guys have been designed for.
And it looks like Porcelli fell back 3 spots on the start, as well as Brubaker there. He's fallen back 4th. Your leader in Pinheiro still leads this But some dicing there throughout the top 10 on the start. And the guy that we mentioned, Musselman, up into the top 10. He's currently 10th, and Chad Frankenfield had a great start as well, moving up 4 spots there. He finds himself in the 12th position. You go back to 17th there, though, Rish. A guy that is going to have to get going here is Victor Del Porto. We've seen him, talk a lot about him throughout this opening of the season.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about him, and not too great of a start there. Lost 2 positions, but obviously long way to go on these tracks. And Del Porto, what he's really kind of become known for is being able to save tires, save fuel. He runs longer on his stints than just about anybody else, especially when we get to ovals here. So maybe just kind of playing it out right now, especially if we expect another green flag type race where very few cautions would happen. Saving that extra lap or 2 of fuel can really make or break your race. So look out for him. Also look out for Joao Ritter there, your winner from the US 500 that we had just last week there at Michigan International Speedway. He was your race winner there. Right now running in the 15th position, down 2 from his starting spot, but could be running a similar thing. Just kind of settle into a groove here, long race to go. And right now, side by side with guys, you don't want to go too aggressive in any of these corners.
Yeah, and it looks like here early, all lanes of the track are raceable. We've seen some guys go to the high side. We've seen some guys run right low around that yellow line. That should taper off throughout the run. We'll see how these cars do. Rish, I'm not sure if you looked deep into the numbers, but I'm thinking the pit window opens up here about lap 55-ish.
Yeah, unfortunately didn't get a chance to really dig into what fuel or tire runs will look like, but I'd imagine around here, actually, that's actually a fair enough point. What would you think, tires versus fuel being the big factor? I know I've covered a lot of stock car racing, and there you're always thinking about the fuel, and you kind of can manage the tires around that. But here in the Indy cars, they wear through these Firestones quite a bit quicker than you would in a stock car.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think we will see the tires go away before these drivers need fuel, and it'll be interesting to see if there is that late race yellow that we've seen a few times that'll set up a shootout as we see some passing going on here up towards the front. Pinheiro still in the lead. He's kind of stretched it out just a little bit. 1.35 seconds is the advantage. Mariano is currently in second. So the top 2 hasn't changed since the drop of the green flag. And towards the back of the field, we see some guys move up as well. But now, Rish, you're settling in. You got 12 laps under your belt.
Oh, we have a car on the inside wall there. Who was that?
Did not see. Let's see if we can go back.
Kendall player.
Oh, there it is. Yep. No, looks like some damage to the front left as well as he makes his way to pit road. That is Noah Player, as you just mentioned. Bad break there. Didn't quite see what happens. We could check it out here on the Whiskey Cask replay.
Yeah, let's take a look. Saw him on that inside there, so might have just gotten loose coming through. I guess what is turns 1 and 2 now. I was about to say 3 and 4, but here is that 94 car. Yeah, it doesn't even really touch the apron, but just kind of loses that rear end, and then hard hit, dumps the nose in there, and that'll be the end of the day there, I think, for that 94 car. Suspension damage to the left front. Don't think that's really going to be fixable for him.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if he had just made a pass, because he looked like he was leading a pack, and if he had just made a pass, you got to adjust your car in going from clean air to dirty air, and maybe that just reacted to that. So we saw it there on the Whiskey Cask replay. So tough way to end for Noah Player there. Very unfortunate, but again, as we go on board with him here, it looks like he just lost it, tried to chase it up, and then into that inside wall he goes.
Yeah, just a little bit of a loose race car there for Kendall Noah Player. Back out to live pictures here, but yeah, you kind of saw there. Didn't really even have to counter steer much. That steering wheel was straight, but the rear end just kind of started to step out on him, and not much you can do as a driver kind of once that happens here. Meanwhile, battle going on here for 9th position. Nick DeGroot, thought that was Nick DeGroot. Saw that black and yellow car. That is Jari Brubaker. Almost got that confused. I was going to say DeGroot was down in 17th last I saw him. He's still there. But Jari Brubaker and David Porcelli going at it here for the 8th position now.
And Rish, I don't know if you have this in front of you, but if you do, let's run through the points as Chad Frankenfield moves into the top 10. He's gained 6 positions. If you have the points, let's run through and kind of talk about that race within this race.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something you got to keep an eye out for, especially with the Indy 500 coming up in just a few weeks' time. That does set you up for your qualifying position and we all know just how much conditions matter at the Indy 500. So right now, the only driver with multiple race wins on the season leading the way, Alexander Vanderson. Where he actually sits in the running order right now, that's P6 for him. Quiet start for the 97 car, quiet qualifying, but up 2 spots from his starting position. We'll see and follow him over the course of the night. Victor Del Porto then, who you mentioned earlier, the guy running in 2nd spot. He has some work to do if he wants to gain some track position, but you mentioned earlier that he dropped 2 positions. He's back up to neutral with where he started this race, so it's starting to move forward there for that number 27 car. Next up then is going to be Craig Forsyth running in the 3rd position in the championship. Craig, I'm not quite seeing here on the running order. Don't know if he, oh no, there he is. He's actually down in 21st right now. So Craig Forsyth, really quiet race right now. We'll continue to follow him and see if he makes some progress. And then Justin Fortner, who's running in the 23rd position, in 4th position, and then Chad Frankenfield in 5th. So actually your championship leaders right now really spread out throughout the field. Not really any indication that one is more dominant than the other.
And thanks, Rish, doing a great job producing this. If we can go on board with our leader, Adriano Pinheiro, who is pulling away from the rest of the field a little bit. 23, 25 laps in here, and yep, perfect, right on cue. We're starting to see the leaders run into some lap traffic. That could be why the gap has gone a little bit closer from 1st place to 2nd. But again, Pinheiro there getting around the lap car looks to be a clear ahead of him by about a half straight. So we'll keep this in mind for later in the run, about 24 to 25 laps before you start finding some lap traffic. Looks like Troiano's going to come up here on the back of the lap car as well, as that car goes a lap down here early. 25 laps in to the Phoenix 250. But again, Rish, is another one of those added dynamics that you don't see on the high-banked, big-time ovals too often. But here at Phoenix, where it's like a short track and not a lot of room to move, you're going to see a lot of guys making some dicey passes here.
Yeah, you're kind of going to have to. There's just not as much room to really draft up and make some moves as you watch Christian Alessio get passed by the top 6 drivers right now. Back up to Adriano Pinheiro up front. But, yeah, you have to be a little bit more patient if you're one of these leaders here. You can lose quite a bit of time in traffic, but of course, things can get very dicey in terms of how lap down drivers, lap down cars are driving, situations like that. So, yeah, tough to say for sure how that's going to play out, but I think it's going to be a little bit harder for these guys, and yeah, something we're going to have to pay attention to. So managing traffic going to be important throughout these runs. Again, expecting a long run race today, so managing your fuel, managing your tires, managing traffic, it's really going to be one of those types of races rather than maybe an all-out sprint that we'll sometimes see when you have a lot of cautions. You'll just have these short sprints in between a few caution periods.
And shout out early here to Eric Troiano, who through qualified 2nd, still is in 2nd as we watch him maneuver around this 1 mile track. Hasn't been a guy we've talked about here early on in the season, but here he is letting his presence known and really just finding himself comfortably there in 2nd, probably saving a little bit of fuel and tires by not leading this thing, but currently got a nice little cushion back to 3rd place, Preslin Sora. So a lot of guys just kind of settling into this run as we're about halfway through this first set if it stays green.
Yeah, kind of ticking away at those laps pretty quickly here. A lap around Phoenix, just 19 seconds to complete. 20 seconds right now after some wear on these guys' tires. But, yeah, I mean, 20 seconds to finish a mile here. It's pretty ridiculous speeds that these Indy cars are running at. And, yeah, I mean, just watching this here on TV, they kind of roll around fast. So credit to the virtual camera operators there for keeping up with these cars as they go around this racetrack.
Yeah, and it just shows the importance of qualifying. We see it here in Gateway and Iowa, where if you don't qualify inside that top 5 or top 10, you're almost, a full straightaway behind when that leader takes the green flag. And it's so hard to, rebound from that. And then when pit stops happen, you could try to stay out to grab track position if a yellow comes out. But again, just like last year, this has been a clean and green start so far as we see a nice battle here. I believe, Rish, that's for the 9th position.
For the 8th position between Porcelli right now and Jari Brubaker, these guys going at it on the racetrack. This has been a great little battle that's been brewing for a few laps now. Right now, Porcelli not able to find a way past Brubaker. So Brubaker doing a good job in that 88 car, that black, blue, and yellow car, easy to spot there on the racetrack. A little bit of a higher line there through turns 1 and 2, and then back down to the bottom in 3 and 4, but actually still kind of comes up a little bit higher off the corner than Porcelli. So maybe carrying some more speed coming off the corner, while maybe Porcelli a little bit more speed into the corner. There you see that again. That nose gets a little bit closer on the 93, but Brubaker runs that higher lane and is able to stay ahead, keeping that momentum off the top lane.
And if you watch across the top ticker here, the top 7 drivers right now, their fastest laps, all 19.7. So that just shows you how close the competition here is at Phoenix, and how the slightest of mistake, Rish, you could go from being second or third in the podium position to outside the top 10. So the gap is so precious here, as we see Adriano Pinheiro push that to looks like about 6.2 seconds, if I'm seeing that correctly. So,
well, from this battle here on the racetrack, sorry about that. That's 1.4 though over Eric Troiano at least.
Yeah. So still, that's over 37 laps. Not really pulling away, so to speak, as we come up to the 40 lap mark. But a lot of guys still just kind of figuring out your car, because what you have right now on lap 38 is not what you're going to have in 200 laps on lap 238. So you got to continue to adjust and continue to make changes throughout the run. Let's look at some of the guys that have moved forward since the green flag over this first 40 miles of the race. Vanderson up 2, Nate Sefker up 2 positions, Sudik up 2 positions as well. Chad Frankenfield is up 6. He finds himself 10th inside of the top 10. A few other guys have gained positions throughout, 15th on back. Some other guys, Brubaker down 5 positions from his third place starting position. And sometimes, Rish, you just get bottled up at that start, and that's kind of what it looked like happened on the initial start.
Yeah, that sometimes happens, and again, these guys fortunately are able to recover from it. But right now, you're obviously a little bit worried about track position. But you've got, obviously, if you have green flag stops, you've got some time here again to kind of pick back up. Right now, though, what's interesting here is this battle going on for third position. Jared Rexing closing that gap in on Presley Sora for third spot. And even Nicholas Sudik as well involved in this one too. He's not on that picture, but just there in the back there in that light blue car, he's joined this battle for third as well.
And watch out for Alex Vanderson. As we know, he knows how to get it done. The last couple of races hasn't really been around towards the end, and he's really made his presence known. So he's currently in the 6th position. Nate Sefker is the guy that we talk about week in and week out, usually up towards the front, as we're about 15 to 20 laps away from being inside of that pit window. It'll be interesting to see the tire drop-off here, as we are possibly under yellow.
Yeah, yellow flag comes out there. Everybody slows down. First one of the night. Take a look and see what brought that one out.
Well, that'll set up pit road to get plenty of action. Let's check back here on the Whiskey Cast replay.
That's already after the incident there. That's with Donna Vera. Take a look again and see if we can find where it all started.
Kind of using all the racetrack here.
Yeah, heading into turn number 1 and 2. A little bit of a higher line, but nothing too crazy there, but just keeps getting tight, and that outside wall comes up fast. Yeah, wow, interesting. So Donna Vera, huge hit to the outside wall. That's right on the racing line too, so brings out the first caution of the night.
That'll set up pit stops for pretty much everybody. Yep, as we see all the drivers hit the pit road there. We thought we'd see that window open up about lap 55-ish, but now 45 laps, and everybody will be down pit road, and it looks like Pinheiro will beat the rest of the field out. So a great stop for him. Looks like no changes there inside of the top 2 positions. Sora looks like gaining a spot. Rexing as well. Sudik up to 5th. Vanderson up to 6th. Brubaker is back in the 8th position. Don't know if he lost any positions coming out of the pits. I believe that he was in 8th as well. So a little bit of movement there inside of the top 10. But again, we're looking at what they have gained or lost since the start of the race. So, again, your top five: Pinheiro, Troiano, Sora, Rexing, and Sudik, your top five.
Yeah, absolutely. So now this is kind of a quick breather moment here. We're just approaching the 20% distance here in this race, just 20 minutes into it actually, and yeah. So this is kind of a chance for drivers to evaluate. All right, what did they have underneath them? What was working? What wasn't? They've now got fresh tires, full tank of fuel again, ready to go potentially for another 50 laps or so. On this set of tires, on this tank of fuel, but timing the restart now, making sure that they have in order what they need. These Indy cars, you can actually make some adjustments, despite them kind of being a fixed setup for everybody, at least baseline setups. You can adjust your roll bar as well as your weight jacker, and that weight jacker is the biggest tool you have as a driver around these ovals. So just kind of changing the balance of the car, just that cross weight between, I believe it's the front left and right rear wheels, and yeah, just making that one or two clicks on that can really change the handling of your car. So guys are going to be playing with that. I'm sure they found something that worked, maybe had to move that number throughout the run. They got to remember to reset that now to what it was at the start of the race or what worked for them on high fuel loads and get ready to go for another restart.
We'll be interested to see if that bottom lane goes like it did in the opening restart. Pinheiro got a great start moving into, or I guess coming off of that final corner and then down the dog leg after the green flag. So we'll see if the bottom lane gets going as well here, as we're just coming up on 50 laps into the night, the Phoenix 250 here on Elite Racing Network. Rish, I will tell you this. I was at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway earlier today where we thought we would see some testing. So it's supposed to be a full week of testing on the road course for the NTT IndyCar Series. But weather in Indiana, as you know, I believe you're still down in Terre Haute, can change in a heartbeat. So we had a lot of snow, or we had a lot of cold conditions, and it actually had snow flurries earlier. So we'll get back to that and the conversations I had with a couple of the drivers as we get ready to go back to green. Now, again, the field still under yellow down the new back straightaway. This used to be last time the NTT IndyCar Series was there, was down the back straightaway. So off of the final turn 4 here for the green flag, and we're back underway on lap 49 here from Phoenix.
Yeah, we'll run one more caution lap here. Yeah.
I was gonna say, hey, nobody's getting the jump here.
Yeah, one of those things just allows guys, I think, to I guess for some reason through iRacing here, just having that extra lap allows guys to just set themselves up, really line up for that restart. So always forget about that one on my end as well there. But I noticed the drivers were pretty low heading into turns 3 and 4, so that's normally not your restart line. But this time you'll see them high up on the racetrack, maximizing the grip that they get on those rear wheels when they finally put the power down. And now Adriano Pinheiro is going to decide to bring this field back to green.
And he brings them back on the high line as the green flag goes back in the air. A big move here from the 4th place position, Rexing. Let's see if he can get it done going into turn number 2. Off the corner down the back stretch, Pinheiro pulls away a little bit.
Contact.
Oh, they had some contact there and some contact in the back of the field as well with Vanderson. So a lot of these guys trying to pounce here on this restart.
Yeah, a lot of guys trying to pounce there. I'm curious about Rexing here. We'll see what Race Control thinks of that restart there. It looked like he dived to the left before they reached the start-finish line. That's typically not okay on these restarts, but might have gotten away with it there just in time there. It was kind of hard to see on that particular restart. We'll listen into to the Race Control notice board there, but now Jared Rexing looking to the outside now on Presley Sora. These two just continuing right where they left off when that caution came out, and around the outside Jared Rexing goes. Sora slow on the inside, going to lose the spot to Sudik as well.
Yeah, loses 2 spots there, and it's good when your car can run up top with those fresh tires straight out of the pits there after the first round of stops. So some good moves there to move inside of the top 5. Sudik and Soraya, then Vanderson right there within pouncing distance, as we see here, as he looks to make a move to go inside of the top 5 as well.
Yeah, Vanderson trying to get back into this as Jared Rexing sets the fastest lap of the race. Here comes Vanderson to the inside of Presley Sora. Sora has not gotten this restart right. He's not liking the balance on that car. I wonder if he maybe forgot to change that weight jacker, like I was mentioning there, from low fuel to high fuel mode there. The balance of the car, of course, shifts as you burn through all your fuel, and so that could have shifted there for him on this restart. He's got to kind of settle back in here, but right now Vanderson with another shot to the inside. Might not be enough here, though, with the run off the corner.
Yeah, and it's so hard to pass here as we see, a guy running that higher line has the run, it seems like coming off the corner, and the guy running the lower line has the run and the momentum heading into the corner. So it's all about having a little bit of a faster car there. But again, the top 5 or 6 cars kind of right there, right within striking distance of each other, but single file up towards the front as Pinheiro, who has led the entire way, continues to lead Troiano. That's been in the top 2 since the green flag 55 laps ago. So the restart on lap 49, that puts us right around that lap 100 to 110 mark if this stays green the next go-round of pit stops. But Chad Frankenfield now up 7 spots. He finds himself in the 9th place position. He's had a really good start to this race, although Rish, he's had some bad luck here early as he gains another spot to move him into the 8th position.
Yeah, I mean, didn't have the qualifying he wanted, so that kind of set him back. But looked to try and move past there, Jari Ruppicher, but doesn't quite get the job done, and now needs to potentially fall back here behind David Porcelli. But we've got another caution out on the racetrack. Looks like it's going to be, if we take a look here at the Whiskey Cast replay, Joe Ribeiro. Ooh,
dude, just came up on him.
Yep.
Just came up on him, and quick miss there. So good reaction, but again, it looks like the red car there, I can't exactly tell who that is, seemed to hold his line, and then bam, yeah, just some contact there, and I think he may have touched him going by.
Yeah, it was race control just called that on netcode. We'll see the message pop up in just a second. But, yeah, unfortunately there, that's just one of those kind of side effects to racing here on iRacing. So that 07 car, Joe Ribeiro, he's the one who got that contact. I couldn't quite see exactly who that was he made contact with.
Oh, yeah.
Spot that blue car. I really can't tell, honestly. Is that James Kennedy? I believe it is, in that Sparko blue car.
And Kennedy kind of was the culprit of that accident, and he looked like he got away relatively unscathed. Yeah,
it looks like, again, race control calling that for netcode, as there you see the race control message. So no driver at fault for that. They won't tally any or issue any tallies for that. So unfortunate for Joe Ribeiro, of course, who kind of got the short end of the stick there. But that's kind of part of how that played out, and unfortunately just one of those side effects of racing here on iRacing.
There's no doubt. So 60 laps in, 200 in the Phoenix 250. First round of pit stops has already happened. We'll see if anybody comes down to the pit road that wasn't involved in the accident. I don't believe they will, as we're just about 9 green flag laps on that last stint after the first caution. So under the second caution of the night. And so far, it's been all up front towards the top as the drivers that started 1 and 2. That's Pinheiro and Troiano. But again, Chad Frankenfield, the guy that we've talked about, now finds himself in the 6th position. He's up 10 spots after that disappointing qualifying run.
Yeah, Chad Frankenfield looking good there. Notable guys who did come down pit road actually on this, David Porcelli, Nick DeGroot, Alexander Vanderson actually stopped in there as well. Saw Nate Sefker, Yari Brubaker. So if you guys making that call to come down pit road, try a little bit of a different strategy here. About 15 laps offset from when those guys came down pit road last. So again, could be a little bit of a strategy play here. You're not close enough to make it on one less stop versus these other guys here for the rest of the race. But if cautions fall certain ways, they could certainly have some opportunities here. Maybe even only have to take a splash late in the race to finish this one out if we stay green.
Yeah, and being able to pounce on the restart with fresher tires, you might be able to gain 4 or 5 extra spots as well. But again, Pinheiro still leading the way with Troiano currently in second, under our second yellow flag of the night so far. So, Rish, I'll go back to what I was talking about. Talked with Simon Pagino, Roman Grosjean today, Elio Castro Neves, and I'm telling you what, I never want to be at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway again when there's snowflakes coming down. So if we could try to avoid that from here on out, that would be something that would be ideal. But let's talk about Phoenix, Rich, a race that hasn't seen IndyCar in a couple of years. But, man, some of the races we saw in the 90s and really some of the horrific accidents, whether it was Buddy Lazier when he broke his back or Nigel Mansell, some of those drivers, as the pace car ducks off the track. So, again, Rich, we'll get one lap around before they take the green flag coming off corner 4.
Yeah, we'll get one more lap here. But, yeah, Phoenix, it was kind of unfortunate there when they revived it. Didn't quite mesh with the package that IndyCar had at the time. That was back during the manufacturer era. And, just things didn't really gel between IndyCar and Phoenix Raceway. However, the final race we held here back in, it was 2018 when the pre-aero screen but new aero kit was introduced. That was a stellar race there with Robbie Wickens, Joseph Newgarden, Alexander Rossi, those three dueling it out there into the night. Remember that one very fondly. But yeah, I mean, some exceptional racing happened here just towards the end of the lifetime of Phoenix Raceway. But I know it's also gone through some other changes since then, as Pinheiro really launching ahead from everybody else. I wonder what happened here if we got waved off again, as the caution flag is officially waving again.
Yeah, he is way ahead of the field coming around to this restart. So not sure what the idea was there, but yeah, he has a monstrous lead, but we are still under yellow. Oh, under yellows.
That was on the restart. Yeah, so that's why we never went back to restarting there.
And that will that'll end your day. Nothing that you did wrong there. You're waiting for the guy in front of you to go on the restart.
Yeah, and that's Donna Vera for the second time tonight.
This time didn't look to be his fault, as he just absolutely got punted towards the back of the field. So we will remain under yellow as we take a look back at the Whiskey Cask replay.
So this is Vera here, following Yari Brubaker in the 88 car. Take a look here at these guys. If one accelerates or the other. Was that the 88 checking up, or was that the 34 there accelerating? It's kind of hard to see on that image.
Yeah, it looked like there was a relatively... It almost looks like that lead car just, for whatever reason, checked up.
Yeah.
Let's see it one more time here, because there's a relatively the same gap.
Oh yeah, definitely a checkup.
A little bit of a wiggle there, and around he goes. So we'll stay under yellow here. Just not a good night there for Donna so far.
Yeah, definitely not. And race control does confirm caution number 3, 88 car at fault there on that restart. So that checkup there gonna hurt Yari Brubaker there. Obviously hurt him on the restart as well. He's still sitting on pit road.
66 laps complete, 250 the total distance here from Phoenix. And yeah, so I was talking with a lot of these drivers today, Rish. You can check it out at burnoutsports.com. Just about the momentum to be built, and are these drivers right now looking for points and thinking about the points championship, and you look at our race here tonight, these are guys that are setting themselves up for a championship run, but we've been at Long Beach, we've been at Phoenix now, we've been at Fontana. There's been some dynamic race courses to start this Elite Racing League season, Rish.
Yeah, we've had some incredible opportunities to race at a bunch of different tracks, and really the best thing about, sim racing and iRacing in general is that we're not limited to real world politics or money battles for certain racetracks. If we want to race somewhere, we're gonna go race there. There's really no limitations there as long as the car is physically able to drive around that racetrack. And even then, I mean, I know week 13 on iRacing is kind of what the fun week is, and I've seen some crazy combinations, including F1 cars on some dirt ovals. So as long as you're willing to put a car on a racetrack, you can really put any combination together, and that allows us to really relive some of the glory days of the older IRL series, of course, when they were all on the just about every oval across the country that you could think about. And of course, even into the IndyCar days when they were still racing on quite a few different ovals. Now, of course, this oval schedule is so much smaller in real life, and would love to see some more expansion there. But there's more to it than just saying we want to go racing on a track like Richmond or come back to Phoenix.
We'll pay attention to this restart here closely. Chad Frankenfield up six. It looks like 10 spots up to the 6th position. A good opportunity here for him to pounce. He gained 4 spots on that last restart. We saw some battles right after that last green flag around lap number 50 that saw Sora lose some spots as well. So we will come around here for the green flag after having our second yellow of the afternoon in Phoenix, and they will go green here coming off corner number 4 on lap 69. So we'll see if we'll see who gets the good jump here. We saw a lot of jockeying for position on that last restart.
Yeah, we definitely did. Guys are going to get racy here again. Laps tick down quickly once we get to green flag racing. So back underway, and once again, Jared Rexing aggressive to the inside, looks to try and make it, make the pass on Eric Troiano the first time anybody's really challenged Troiano, and he gets it done there initially here through turns 1 and 2. Troiano, does he have the pace to come back at him off of the corner? He does, and this could be a great battle going on here for second place. Allows Adriano Pinheiro to kind of step away from them, but right now it is now Rexing into second position. Eric Troiano has to settle for third.
Yeah, and a great pass there. Great restart, has the run, and for the first time tonight, like you said, Troiano now moves down to the 3rd position, and Rexing, a man on the move. He is now up 4 spots to second. We'll see if he sets his sights on Pinheiro here, and if he can start closing that gap here, fresh off the restart on lap number 71, as looks to be single file racing here, and we're getting to that almost middle part where you don't want to be too aggressive, but again, as you look now, he's gaining on Pinheiro for that lead. We'll see if Rexing can find himself out front here for the first time.
Yeah, for now, a little bit separation there between the leaders. Meanwhile, you've got a great battle going on over here. Victor Del Porto getting by Michael Hossack on the racetrack. That's for 9th position. And they're going to do that. I think they're going to settle into position. They are, so Hossack stays in 10th there. Meanwhile, up front, that gap between Pinheiro and Rexing, we'll follow that all race long. Right now, it's sitting at about 0.3 of a second, but Chad Frankenfield and Presley Sora are going at it right now for 5th place.
And Frankenfield's been on the move since the go with Sora, who's lost some spots on that last restart as well. Rish, I believe he lost 2 spots on that last restart, moving himself back to the 5th place. So yeah, he's lost 3 spots. We'll see if Chad Frankenfield can get inside of that top 5. He's all over the back of him.
Yeah, he is. Chad Frankenfield, good looking race car there for that number 15 car. Didn't quite have the speed in qualifying like we mentioned, so he's had to kind of do the hard work here during these race laps, but I think that allows you to learn a lot about the car underneath you, understand how it drives in this dirty air when you have a lot of cars in front, and in theory, once you get, if he's able to get up front, it'll handle way better than it ever has here throughout this race. So Chad Frankenfield probably looking forward to that right now, but working on adjusting that car, working on kind of setting up Presley Sora, maybe trying to get another run at him here as this run goes on.
Moving into the top 10, a guy that we talked about earlier, Victor Del Porto. Didn't have a great qualifying effort, but he always finds himself moving up through the field, and now he's up to the 9th position. As Pinheiro still leads the way by about a little over a half second.
Yeah, so Pinheiro maintains that gap for now. Meanwhile, close battle, yeah, Joao Ritter now and Victor Del Porto. So Del Porto moving forward. Ritter also has moved forward net, but might lose out here to Del Porto depending on the pace difference between these guys. The thing is that the pace that these guys run is so close to each other around this racetrack. That last time by, I mean, these guys are running virtually identical lap times all throughout the field. You find a group of cars right next to each other. That last time around, Chad Frankenfield, Presley Sora, 5th and 6th on the racetrack, both ran identical lap times. So the pace is very similar between these guys. As here we go, another pass for position here on the racetrack. That's Mark Murphy getting passed by Michael Hossack, or trying to get by Michael Hossack. Justin Fortner also trying to get involved in that battle.
Yeah, Justin Fortner, a guy who was up 11 spots. We haven't talked about him much this evening, but he's right there lurking for a top 10. And really, Rish, if you, we got an accident here. It looks like a spin to the field and contact as the yellow comes out. The third yellow of the evening. Looked like some contact towards the back of the field, if not mistaken there. And yeah, we see one car. Looks like day to be done as the pace car comes out with the Whiskey Cask replay here.
That was the battle that we were actually following on live pictures here. So Michael Hossack, it's that red car with the black nose cone right in front. To the inside goes. They just make contact. They're coming off the corner. Oh, and he pulls, who was that? Was that, oh man, that was that Justin Fortner that he pulled with him? It was Justin Fortner in that blue car.
Guy that I was just talking about, who had moved himself in position to be inside of the top 10 as we inch closer to that 100 lap mark. But again, just unfortunate circumstances. I'm not sure if there was contact. It looked like he just went straight to the left to avoid the contact, and then that kind of sent him. Let's see if there is. He missed it. Bounces off.
But yeah.
Bounces off the wall, and into oncoming traffic he goes, which sometimes you got to be better to be lucky than good, and just unfortunate there for Justin Fortner, who really had nowhere to go, and kind of ruins a really good evening here within the first 80 laps of the race. Yeah, so Fortner drops back to the 20th position, and yeah, unfortunate circumstances there as Hossack was trying to avoid contact, bounces off the wall, slides down, and collects Justin Fortner. So looks like Fortner will be bringing it in, and just unfortunate circumstances there. Bad luck for Fortner, who really had nowhere to go. As we look here towards the front, what is going on?
Yeah. This is Adriana Pinheiro, who just came down pit road, so grabbed a fresh set of tires here. Was fine off of pit road, but has been running very slow on the racetrack here. Dropped a couple of spots again here. So not sure if race control right now is giving him a message to let cars pass, so he's having to roll a little bit slower right now. But not what you want to see there for Adriana Pinheiro. But yeah, that looked like it was a purposeful strategy call to bring that car down to pit road there. But right now, I don't know what's happening. Running very slow on the racetrack, much slower than our standard caution speed, I feel.
And I'm curious to see if did he know the yellow was out and dove in to try to, or there was an accident? That would have been behind him, 6 or 7 cars. So either the luckiest pit call in the world right before that yellow came out, or something.
He just pitted here under yellow. So okay. As everybody, so that's why he's lost all this position. He's down in 20th spot here. So just pitted under yellow there, but just rolling around here a little bit slow. That was just noticeable there.
Interesting call there to give up the lead as we're just about 30 laps on that set of tires I guess we are at about 50 to 55 since the last pit stops, if not mistaken, because I don't believe anybody pitted there when that yellow came out the last time.
Yeah, if anybody did, it wasn't too many of them that pitted out last time. So, yeah, lap 81, we've got Eric Troiano has come down, Presley Sora, Joao Ritter, Joseph Grijalva, Joel Harleman, Alec Balvance, Justin Fortner, of course, who was involved in that incident, and then Adriana Pinheiro as well, all came down pit road that time by. Shockingly, though, it's the fact that Pinheiro is at the back of this group of cars here, rather than kind of being at the front there. So Troiano, the leader of the guys who came down pit road, Sudik actually beat Troiano off pit road. So Sudik, the leader of the drivers who just pitted on this current caution. Pinheiro, definitely some issues coming off pit road, so he had to give up those spots.
Well, that sets up what will be an entertaining restart with, for sure, the top, let's call it, Rich, top 12, top 11 haven't pitted or didn't pit under this yellow. So Rexing finds himself in the lead for the first time tonight. Chad Frankenfield up 14 spots. He is currently P2. AJ Musselman up 9. Victor Del Porto up 11. He is currently 4th. And Mark Murphy up 14 spots finds himself inside of the top 5. I think some of these guys that are out there right now are hoping cautions breed cautions, and they will get another one, because if you pit under green, while some of those guys, Pinheiro, who has already pitted, you might find yourself losing a lot of gap over this run as we go back to green flag racing here. Rexing with the lead, a nice little restart. Frankenfield second, but he's going to feel some pressure here from Musselman heading into turn 2.
Yeah, we'll see. So Frankenfield gets that position there, off of the pit strategy. We'll see if he can hold on to it. That 15 car, I think, has been really strong, all race long. So, now he actually gets an opportunity to show that. Rexing and Frankenfield then leading the way. So 2 new names up front in first and second position. Now you got Musselman, Del Porto going after it for third, and then we got a side-by-side battle here between Ryan Schuld and Alexander Vandesant going side-by-side there. They hold on together, and Schuld gets that position for right now over Vandesant.
So the top 7 right now, last pitted on lap 44. You got to go down to the 7th place driver right there in Vandesant, who just came down pit road, if not mistaken. So drivers in positions 1 through 7 haven't pitted in well over 44 laps, so maybe another 10 to 15 before we see them come in. And if this thing plans to stay green, which, Rish, kind of coming into this race, we thought we would see some clean green racing, but as of right now, 3 cautions here within the first 100 laps.
Yeah, it hasn't been great there coming off of that caution. At least so far, we've already doubled our caution count from 1 year ago. But right now, again, if these guys are able to kind of get settled into a groove, I think we can stay green for a while. It seems to be these restarts and the restart procedure itself has kind of been throwing drivers off, and that's really where we've seen some of these issues. So we should have gotten back to green a few laps ago, right? And then you had that restart issue. That's kind of been catching people off guard. I think once these guys get spread out, once they get settled into a rhythm, we'll probably see more like what we saw at the start of this event.
Well, as we approach the 100 lap mark, Rish, let's go ahead and go on board with Chad Frankenfield, who is in second. We'll take a quick little breather here and reset as we approach the 100 lap mark here of this 250 lap Phoenix 250.
All right, back at it with the action here from the Phoenix 250. Just ticked over to lap 100 as caution came out as, calls from race control saying the pits are closed, but AJ Musselman does come down pit road. That is definitely going to be a penalty there for that 54 car. Meanwhile, what actually happened in terms of the incident out on the racetrack, who got involved in that? So here we go. It's Adriano Pinheiro, and Joel Harleman spins it around, and Pinheiro, our pole sitter and long race leader, involved in that one too.
Yeah, and we talked about that right before we went to a little break there, that he pitted among a few others, and I wasn't sure I liked that call. You kind of get back in the pack where you get what I call, for lack of a better term, the crap, right? You don't know what's going on. You got drivers that aren't as fast as you, and sometimes you get caught up in somebody else's mess. So Pinheiro, who was dominant the first 75 laps of this race, nowhere to go there, finds himself making hard contact with the wall. And not only, Rish, does this ruin his day, but the point standings will definitely be shaken up after this.
Yeah, I mean, that's been the problem for Pinheiro, is he's had the pace here, but just in terms of the results, it hasn't really worked out for him. Let's take a look from the in-car there, and it just, whether that was netcode, it looked maybe like it was just a lot of netcode there, because there was clearly no contact between these cars. But then then Harleman comes back down there into Pinheiro, and both of them are out of this one.
You almost wonder, you got a car coming up to pass you that you should know is faster than you, right? You should know he was the pole sitter, and sometimes you just push a little bit too hard, maybe miss the apex of the corner, or miss your line, and next thing you know, you're pushing a little bit and you're just holding on. So Vanderson now finds himself into the lead with Nick DeGroot second. Craig Forsyth up to the third spot. He's up 18 spots on the evening. Nate Setker into the top 5 as well. He is fourth, and Sudik now fifth. Eric Troiano, who qualified second and has pitted more recently than those guys inside of the top 5. He currently sits in the 6th position. Sora is now 7th with Ritter 8th, and then the rest of the top 10 there. Justin Fortner, kudos to him, who was involved in that last yellow flag, no doing of his own. Came in, got that front wing changed, and now finds himself right back into the top 10. He's plus 13. And then you go down the rest of the field there. Musselman, Chad Frankenfield, Del Porto. Those are some of the guys that are on the strategy of, hey, we just pitted. We might stay out here and shuffle up towards the front, as I expect these leaders, at least the top 5, to hit pit road here.
Yeah, they did there. So, yeah, now if you're talking, Vanderson, DeGroot, Forsyth, Sefker, all last pitted around lap 60 to lap 65. Yeah, I mean, how much longer can you go? We've had a few cautions in that time period, right? But as Vanderson gets a little bit close with the pace car, and he's got to watch out here. That pace car will come across the front nose of that car. That was pretty close there as well. But yeah, you definitely have to watch out for that. That is a bit of a gamble, but it's a gamble for track position right now. If we go a few laps long enough, my guess is they've got 10 to 15 laps of fuel in those cars saved up from cautions. That's enough where you actually gain an advantage. If the next caution comes out, you could potentially maintain that track position again. 9 sets of tires provided to these drivers over the course of tonight, so more than enough to make it through here with quite a few cautions as well. So, you're not really tire limited. It's more so what the best strategy is, or you feel is.
And Vanderson, DeGroot, Forsyth, the top 5, as we mentioned. It's been a while since they pitted. They are gambling. We'll see on this restart if guys like Troiano, that have already pitted and have shown speed after qualifying second, can pounce and make some moves here on this restart. Because, I don't mind the gamble here to stay out, but if you don't get that caution within 15 to 20 laps, green flag pit stops can really put you in a hole. But again, you're kind of gambling. Because really some of these guys were anywhere from 8th back to 12th. So green flag back out here. A little bit of a strung out restart as we are back underway as we get closer to that halfway point.
Yeah, we do. And yeah, Vanderson, DeGroot, then good separation there from the rest of the pack. And then here's this battle for third: Forsyth, Sefker, and Sudik. Fairly close on the racetrack as well, but generally good spread on this restart. I think guys were a little bit too on top of each other on past restarts. This time around, gave each other a little bit more space, and I think that's going to benefit us here in the long run.
Well, it's how racy do you want to get, right? If you're racing and battling side by side and you lose 2 or 3 spots here and your tires fall off, now you got to pit a lap or 2 earlier than everybody else when you're on that strategy of these guys up inside of the top 5 that haven't pitted in well over 50 laps almost. So you kind of got to pick your battles right now as we're not even to the halfway point. But again, we will see some moves, and it seems like the entire track, every lane from the bottom to the top has been racy here throughout the first 100 or so laps.
Yeah, that's been really great to see, honestly. Just the ability for people to race with one another on different lines and just kind of try different things out here. This package, like I mentioned, this car, and this track seem really well suited for each other. Potentially also the fact that it's a daytime race, so a little bit less grip on the racetrack, so it makes it a little bit easier for guys to move around the racetrack, that kind of stuff. But whatever it is, it's kind of working right now for us, and it's giving us some great racing here on the track, especially on these restarts. Once you get into long runs again, we'll kind of see some single filing out, but that is just the nature of short track racing in IndyCar. You're not going to see guys going back and forth making passes all the time like you would maybe Indianapolis Motor Speedway or some of the other larger tracks.
Looks like we got a battle going on here. I believe that is for the 8th spots, 8th and 9th, if not mistaken.
The ones here on the screen, the 54 of AJ Musselman and Alec Balvans in the 5 car that we're watching for. That's for the 11th spot, but we might have had a position going a little bit higher up the order, or a battle going a little bit higher up the order. We have Sefker and Sudik close together on the racetrack. That might have been the battle that you were referring to.
Yep, and Sudik right there. He was right there on the restart as well, but didn't quite get enough room to try to make a move as they kind of get a little bit dicey here as they head off of turn number 4 into 1 as they'll go side by side. And yeah, you can just see right here the different lines working for the different drivers. And you can make it stick on the outside. We've seen a lot of passes so far here early in this race.
Yeah, around the outside in 1 and 2 definitely works, but through 3 and 4, that seems a little bit sketchier, but he makes it work. So Nicholas Sudik up into the 4th position ahead of Nate Sefker, and now Eric Troiano's going to try his luck on the inside of Nate Sefker, but doesn't quite work out there. I think if you're overtaking, you're going to want to try and take that outer lane, because I just don't think you're going to get the run off from the bottom lane, coming off the corner, and I think that's what you need.
And as this run gets deeper into it, we'll see if Troiano can start moving towards the front as these guys that have less fresh tires kind of fall back to him if he can maybe pounce and gain a few spots. Or maybe those cars in front of him that are now lighter with less of the fuel load can keep pace. But again, I expect it looks like probably that top 5 to be in here in about, 10 to 15 laps, if not sooner.
Yeah, that's kind of what you'd expect here based on when they came down, isn't it? Sudik, of course, right now is one of the best position drivers. He pitted 20 laps later than the rest of the guys in front of him. So has that little bit of an advantage, fresher tires, has a little bit more fuel, but also has more fuel to burn in that same respect. So can maybe run at a little bit higher engine mode. So right now, though, good gap out front here for Alexander Vanderson. Now that he's got the clean air really far up front, he just needs a caution right now, because otherwise he's going to be very limited on what he can do strategy-wise with when he came down pit road. Same to be said for DeGroot, Forsyth, and then 5th place Nate Sefker.
And if we could go back a little bit here, it looks like Musselman, Frankenfield, Del Porto, Rexing, who found himself in the lead. These are guys right now that you've got to just teach. You got to tell yourself, I got to be patient. These guys in front of me are still going to come down. I know I've got fresher tires and my car is faster, but I can't put myself in a position that's going to ruin my day as we itch closer to the halfway point here. But these are guys that know that, hey, my car should be inside of the top 5. One of these guys going to come in. This is that patient zone, right, where you don't want to try to make too many over-aggressive moves that could ruin your day.
Absolutely, yeah. You don't want to be going too hard here, because, again, these cars are very finicky in terms of how you drive them as well. You can't really kind of dive them in like you could with the old Cup cars. In an IndyCar, you've got to be a little bit more deliberate with your actions here. So 3 wide coming off of turns 3 and 4 there, and that's going to give AJ Musselman an opportunity now to the inside, and Fortner's going to go with him on the bottom. Actually, no, that's Frankenfield on the bottom with him, and all the way up the racetrack then for who was that? That was that Porcelli or Grijalva, or somebody went way up the racetrack there, lost a bunch of spots, but Musselman now into 10th, Frankenfield in 11th, and Fortner up to 9th, actually.
Yeah, and just when I said you got to preach patience and find what your car is going to do throughout this long green flag run, they go 3 wide there. So, again, these are guys that have found themselves inside of the top 5 early on in the race, but some different pit strategies going on throughout the field. So we should see, as we hit the halfway point here, some of these drivers up inside of that top 5 starting to think they're inside of their fuel window. And, we've done what, Rish, 2 to 3 stops in the first half of the race here. So we're thinking 2 to 3 more, maybe even 4, but a lot of yellows throughout this first 125 laps. So we could see maybe 1 more pit stop more in the last 125 than what we saw in the first 125.
Absolutely. If we stay green to finish this one out, expect maybe for the guys up front like Vanderson, DeGroot, Forsyth, those guys, they're probably going to need 2 stops to make it to the end here, but potentially just 1 more stop for the guys who just came down pit road that last time by. It'll be pretty tight. You'll need to, probably not actually, you'll need to go about 70 laps or so on each set of tires there, so that might just be out of reach for them. So it could be that everybody right now is on a 2-stop to the end, except for those top guys who might even be on a 3-stop.
Yeah, and we don't know how long these tires or fuel will last on the green flag run, because we've simply not have had one, right? There's been a yellow, and we are the first 42 laps were under green. I think that's been our longest green flag run here so far throughout the night. So Phoenix would love to see IndyCar come back here. Not sure it'll happen, but if the racing is as good as what we're watching right here, it'll certainly be a thrill for all the fans involved. But again, like you said, we can go racing wherever we want. We don't got to worry about dollar figures or sponsorships or putting fans in the seats. We're all here watching this and enjoying the action here so far throughout the evening, as we're just past the halfway point, the Elite Racing League. And it's been a good race so far. Rish, we've seen multiple different leaders here, which is something that we haven't seen over the last couple of races.
Yeah, we have, and that's been great to see. It's come largely through strategy. We haven't really seen too many of battles for the lead, but that's great to see still, as this kind of shifting through the field, based off these different strategies. And that's the nice thing that cautions allow us to have. There is kind of a balance of maybe having a few cautions in a race that really will help shake it up, kind of give other people opportunities. What you don't want to have is, 3 or 4 laps of green flag running followed by a caution every few laps. That kind of gets obviously pretty tiresome for both the spectators and the drivers. But for this right now, we kind of, if we finish this race off with only 5 cautions total in the event, that's certainly not a bad way to split up your 250 laps. And I think that's that gives us some great kind of versatility and variety, I suppose, in the drivers that have been up front, the drivers who've had opportunities to make things work on strategy and on race pace.
Rish, I'll put you on the spot. We're just past the halfway point. Give me a driver you're looking to stay up front and maybe take the win here. A little prediction time here as we hit the halfway point.
Yeah, it's tough to say. I mean, because of all that shifting, because you have 1 caution, it can immediately shake things up, as Nick DeGroot has to come down pit road. So he was one of those guys who pitted earlier and is going to have to serve his stop now. Expect to see that same thing happen now for Vanderson and Forsyth if we stay green for the next couple laps. So for me, I look to Eric Troiano. I mean, qualified P2, fell down the order a little bit, but he's back up inside the top 5 now after DeGroot's pit stop. Strong running, and now with Adriano Pinheiro out of the way, in theory, he's the fastest car on the racetrack now. We'll see if that's true over the course of a full race stint, but at least over 1 lap, that 14 car has shown some significant pace. So I'm liking Eric Troiano as our leader, and championship points leader Alexander Vanderson does come down pit road. Yeah,
and we should see those top 5 runners make their way to pit road, which I believe will cycle the lead to your pick right there in Troiano. I like Justin Fortner. I mean, he's shown speed. He's up 16 spots. He kind of dodged a bullet there at that first yellow. I remember he had that contact, no fault of his own. I think he'll be right there. He's proven he's got a fast car. Chad Frankenfield was making a lot of positions up in that first 60 to 75 laps. I think him and Del Porto and Musselman, Fortner and Troiano, that's where your winning team, that's where your winning call is going to come from. But again, we'll see which of the strategies plays out and where the yellow flags fall, because the guys that are pitting right now think that, well, we stretched it out over this green flag run. If we get a long green flag run late in this race, we might be sitting in the catbird seat.
Yeah, for sure. What they want now, the guys who are just hoping for the caution to come out, Alexander Vanderson right there on your screen on the bottom of the racetrack, he now wants this race to go green for as long as possible and allow everybody else to come down pit road so that he's the last one standing again, and then you kind of open up that window. So for everyone, that's going to shift in terms of when you want that caution to come out. Right now, if you're, Sudik, Troiano, Sora, Ritter, that top four, you guys are now starting to think, and even Fortner in the top five, you guys are now starting to think, oh man, now I'm kind of wanting a caution to come out here within the next 15 to 20 laps, because that's the difference between them and the guys who just came down pit road. And then you have another 20 laps to the guys on the most recent pit strategy here, and that's going to be your AJ Musselman, Chad Frankenfield, Del Porto, Porcelli, all of those guys who pitted on lap 102. So 20 lap separation on all these pit stops basically kind of splits up nice and evenly for us, as Vanderson tries to go by Fortner on the top side, has to kind of duck over and onto the bottom, and does get by. He's unlapping himself though on this number 12 car, and he wants to do that as quickly as possible, use up those tires to the best of his ability.
Yeah, this is that part of the race where, it's the first time tonight we've seen a cycle of some drivers on green flag stops. So a lot of these guys that are faster, you just kind of got to know who's around you, right? You got to know that, Vanderson just came in the pits and is going to be a second or two faster than you with fresher tires. So as the leader, you've got to show some patience, and it's tough being a leader and somebody blows by you to unlap himself. As we see a few more cars find themselves on pit road. I believe that's Rexing, if I'm not mistaken, one of them.
Nicholas Sudik and AJ Musselman, a little bit of a different shade of yellow there, I think, for Musselman. But yeah, hard to tell sometimes with these IndyCar liveries, since there's such a small area that's actually painted on them. But yeah, no, those guys come down. Those were the last two, I believe, on that lap 65 pit strategy. So now it shuffles up to the guys all on the lap 81 pit strategy. So Eric Troiano takes over the lead. Presley Sora back in second position, about to get about to have Alexander Vanderson unlap himself on Sora. And Vanderson's close to the wall there on the top side, but he's just one car away now from being back on the lead lap, and that's big as well. Actually, is it lead lap, or did they go down 2 laps here? Gotta check that one out. Actually, it is 2 laps.
Seconds a lap. It could be 2 laps.
Yeah, it is 2 laps. So even if he does get by here, or when he gets by Eric Troiano, he'll still be 1 lap down. But just trying to nullify the damage as much as possible. So he does get by Sora, but has to get by Troiano and then do it all over again.
Yeah, and it looks like, if not mistaken, I mean, yes, there was probably 10 to 12 caution laps, maybe a little bit more. But 80 laps since that last cycle through the stops there for the guys that just came in. So it can be done if you get some help with the yellow flag. But I think if it stays green, as we've got another taker here to pit road.
Yeah, that is actually going to be Presley Sora. So those guys who pitted on lap 181, or excuse me, on just 81, that's the first of those cars to come down pit road here now. So these guys could also now be in a little bit of trouble. Eric Troiano, Joao Ritter, Justin Fortner to the top 3 now. All on that pit strategy of having pitted now about 60 laps ago, almost 70 laps ago, of course, with a couple of cautions in there. But yeah, the fuel run's probably going through for these guys, and they're getting ready to come down pit road. And again, we're going to shift over to the next group of cars, and that's going to be the Frankenfield, Del Porto, Rexing group of cars, as here comes Troiano, our race leader.
Yeah, and a little bit of a fall off there. I thought he might be able to stay out a little bit longer. But again, you also don't want to find yourself as a sitting duck when everybody else is out there, and you're losing 2 to 3 seconds a lap because your tires have just fallen off so much. So 2 of the most identical cars hit the pit road here. That'll cycle Justin Fortner to the lead with Frankenfield second, Del Porto third, and Rish 100 laps to go. These guys could probably make it on a last-ditch effort. Maybe one more stop, and that last stop could be a short fill.
Maybe not. Oh no, sorry, Fortner on the 81 strategy. Yeah, so Frankenfield is kind of the first guy who maybe has a shot here. So again, pitted lap 102, has 150 laps to go to the finish. That's a lot. You know, you're talking 75 laps, per stint. That is a lot there. You're going to need some help from cautions maybe, or just kind of really take it easy to do it on one more stop. But it might just be an option here. It's a short enough racetrack where getting 5 extra laps out of it might be more doable, for these drivers. Tune down that engine, really focus on lifting and coasting. I wonder if these guys are in that mindset right now. To be fair, though, Chad Frankenfield last time around, 19.88. That's a pretty quick lap. I don't think he's in a saving mindset at all. Frankenfield's going for it right now. First time he's had the lead all race.
Yeah, and he's pushed the gap to almost 1 second, 9/10 of a second. He is the leader. So Frankenfield, who we talked about, had moved up right at the initial start. Found himself up about 10 spots really under the green flag. So we know that he's got a fast car. He's disappointed in his qualifying effort. So he finds himself up towards with a chance to win this thing. And that would be huge for Frankenfield, Rish, because he's really had some bad luck to start the season.
Yeah, he really hasn't had the best of luck. It's just been unfortunate, and I followed him in the Cup Series as well, where it just hasn't worked out for him either. And that's just kind of how it goes. Sometimes guys just have rough seasons. Frankenfield's definitely having that right now. But yeah, hoping to kind of turn his fortunes around. Of course, Indy 500, with that being double points, guys are able to really turn around their seasons all of a sudden with that one. So that's kind of what a lot of guys are looking forward to. But of course, first you gotta get the points, as many points as possible before qualifying, and set yourself up in the best way possible.
We look at this battle here back towards the 14th and 15th position, I do believe. We've got some guys, just kind of figuring out, all right, how much fuel do I need to save? How much has these tires fallen off? Where exactly does my car need to be as we reach what looks like, so about 90 laps to go here. Very interesting so far. Multiple different leaders, some shakeups in the points as well. But again, Chad Frankenfield finds himself up front with Del Porto currently in second. But Rish, 3 different fuel strategies, kind of pit strategies, as you've mentioned here. We tried to make a call around lap 125, halfway mark, who's going to win this thing. But 40 laps later now, and we're going, oh, well, maybe we're going to be wrong on that.
Yeah, who knows? We'll follow that as that goes on. As here, we've got a great battle going on. 3 cars at it, going after 8th position. That's going to be Nate Sefker, Nicola Tsudik, and Eric Triano as a car goes around. Oh my God, huge incident there. I believe that was a lapped car, though. No, maybe not. Presley Sora, I think, being tagged as involved in that incident here. Presley Sora up high
here.
Ooh.
Way off. Already a car in front of him.
Donna Vera again.
And Donna Vera, the bad luck continues. His 3rd incident tonight, and this time takes out a contender, just absolutely nowhere to go. And that is a horrible way to go out here with a guy that really had a chance to certainly contend for a top 5, if not maybe even a podium, if everything.
Yeah, you hate to see that for Presley Sora, but what happens to Vera here? Again, that's a huge amount of net code, if that's net code. I'll take a look at that once again here, but I mean that's a hard one to call, if that's just net code here.
We go on board. Somebody goes into you, and sometimes that wind just kind of, that the air in front of you when there's a faster car that kind of chops over, gets taken out, and that's what kind of washed him up. And then again, just the chain reaction there. So Donna Vera, not a fun night so far.
No, it hasn't been. The thing that's kind of blowing me away is how violent of a turn that was for the Donna Vera car, because that's and interesting.
Tough call to make there, but again, now the strategy continues to play out. We're 3 wide here, and trying to get around the lap traffic.
It's just there's no contact there. Yeah, race control calls it on net code there. That is just again the virtual boxes and just the latency between drivers there, causing collisions in iRacing. And again, Donavira kind of gets the bad side of that one. And yeah, I mean, not much you can say there. That's not a washing or anything situation like that. It's purely just, on one screen, I think probably on Donavira's screen, it just looked like contact.
Yeah, and just violent impact for both drivers there. So we will see who is takers to pit road here. I don't expect it to be too busy, as a lot of these guys have already found themselves on the pit road over the last 20 to 25 laps. So we will see what takers we have here as we are down to the final, about 85 laps of this race.
Yeah, it's ticking down here, and as it does, as we figure out pit road strategy, we'll get a chance to talk about our great sponsors here at the Elite Racing Network and the Elite Racing League, starting with, of course, our premier sponsors down in that bottom right-hand corner of your screen. They're there all race long, starting with C2 Freight Resources. They offer complete freight management services and are ready to meet your needs today, as well as your changing needs in the future. With their electronic data interchange, or EDI services, they allow shippers to keep close electronic tabs on their shipments throughout the entire freight movement process. For more information, check out C2 Freight Resources. Also check out Blue Egg Marketing, the marketing department for small businesses. If you're a small business owner, then Blue Egg Marketing is your absolute biggest fan, and whatever your constraints are, they help catalyze creativity, and they'll help your business punch well above their weight class. Finally, want to thank Powerhouse Recycling, premier sponsor here for 2022A. They strive to offer the highest level of customer service in the industry for each load process time and time again. Attainable account representatives, prompt and on-time pickups, and customized recycling solutions keep Powerhouse Recycling as the North Carolina market leader in customer service. Massive thanks to all three of those companies for joining us here at the Elite Racing Leagues. We're fortunately not bound to any TrackSpire sponsors. They allow us to race whatever we want and wherever we want, but they absolutely allow us to put on these events, put on these broadcasts for you guys at home to watch back. If you're drivers, or if you're fans of drivers or family of drivers, you can watch over your guys, follow their progress throughout all the Elite Racing Leagues, and we do that right here on the Elite Racing Network. So big thanks to our premier sponsors, and for those of you watching who are enjoying the racing here tonight, make sure you're subscribed there to the Elite Racing Networks to grab all your racing needs here. We've got stock car racing, IndyCar racing, F1 racing all throughout the week. Just about every day is filled up at this point here, so make sure you're following and getting your fix on some nice elite sim racing.
Chad Frankenfield leading. He is front. This will be the first time on a restart. He finds himself in the lead. Victor Del Porto right behind him. Reesing currently third, Porcello fourth, and Troiano currently fifth. And Vanderson, Musselman, Ritter, Sefker, and Nick DeGroot is up into the top 10. So some familiar names, if you follow the Elite Racing Network throughout the season, find themselves inside of the top 10 as we get ready to go back green here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's looks like the caution comes back out again. So waved off caution. We've seen this before. No incident on the racetrack, but
looks like the field spread out as they came off the turn there. You looked ahead down the back straightaway. Looked like a bit spread out there. So the safety car back on the course.
Yeah, a lot of confusion on the race control radar that I'm listening into. Basically, just seems like, again, we talked about it and we saw it earlier. Guys just not comfortable right now, or at least not understanding the restart protocol that we have here, which is surprising because I don't think there's too many newer drivers here racing tonight, or any first-time drivers. So they've all done this before. We've been doing this for a couple of seasons now. It's nothing new, but seems to really be a struggle here with this restart procedure. And so that puts us back under caution. And unfortunately, the way iRacing works is that pace car is going to have to stay out here for about 2 or 3 more laps.
And Rish, you say it's confusing. I say that maybe it's a strategy call for some of these guys that might be able to stretch it out an extra lap or two and make it instead of a 2-stopper or a 1-stopper. So we'll see if maybe a little Dyson going on in the back there.
Yeah, potentially there. So Who knows? But as the pace car does come out here, and it's gonna probably stick around here for a couple more laps. We'll keep an eye out actually as it comes off of turn 4, see if those lights go out, and we'll be fortunate enough to head back to green flag racing. We're not. We're gonna step away for just a moment here, get this caution out of the way, and hopefully bring you guys back in here once we go back to green.
We're back to Phoenix 250, 170 laps are complete here. The Elite Racing League. Tony Donnie along with my buddy Rish. And Rish, Chad Frankenfield finds himself up front. He's had a fast car. This would be an interesting restart to see if he can fend off Victor Del Porto as we go back to green.
Yeah, it will be really interesting. And what's kind of funny about how this all played out here is from what I'm seeing on our tracker, these guys who are up front actually have the newest tires out on the racetrack as Del Porto and Rexing go at it there coming off the corner.
Oh, boy, washed up here. We had a wash up, and it looks like we're under yellow. Was there contact there?
Looked like it was maybe a little bit further back here. We'll head to the Whiskey Cast replay. Ooh, again, that same position, net code, and a huge incident there.
Was that, how far back was that there? Was that?
It's Ryan Schold that we just watched.
Yeah, oof.
Yeah, big hit, but it's that same thing that we've been seeing time and time again. So here they come across the start-finish line, but it's just the net code. The iRacing servers have been atrocious tonight, and I mean, he's about a foot away from the other car, and they make hard contact in the wall there. Schold makes that contact, and that's Nate Sefker as well there up top. And who is that? That's Donna Vera arriving late to the scene, just avoiding that incident too. Yeah,
tough right there for Sefker, who was on a different strategy, but he found himself at times today up inside of that top 5. But again, the Whiskey Cask replay here. Rish, there's almost nothing you can do but just shake your head because it's just not anybody's fault.
Yeah, it's I don't even know at this point. Like, it's that netcode stuff is really blowing my mind just how bad it is. So there's the incident in front, and if you're Sefker, unfortunately, you're just a passenger in that one. There is no way to avoid that incident. But I mean, if you're Ryan Schold involved in that, I mean, let's go and ride on board with him. He probably had a crazy ride here, but again, no physical contact with another car, at least on our screens. I mean, it just kind of goes. I mean, you can't see much from that angle, but if we go to who was the car he actually initially made contact with, we can maybe even see on board with them. But I think what we'll see is the Ryan Schold car just all of a sudden, turn around.
We should see here momentarily what race control calls it. But yeah, that'd be that's the third or fourth time tonight we've seen that. And when that happens, you're a passenger, right? You're the car behind. There's no real time to react because you don't know it's coming, and once it comes, it's already there, and there's no way around it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Nick DeGroot, you just watch that happen, and you're thinking, what on earth did I do wrong? Nick DeGroot did nothing wrong there. He looked to the inside, and that car just spun around on its own.
Yeah, as we're on board here with DeGroot under yellow. Man, yeah, just unfortunate. Chad Frankenfield continues to lead with 75 laps to go. Del Porto currently second, Rexing third, Porcelli up to fourth. Troiano is currently in the fifth position. We just continue to click away laps under yellow, and you got to start thinking, the guys up front have those fresher tires. If I'll scroll over here since last pit, if I can here, my apologies. And we will see that maybe some of these guys start creeping up on as far as what the pit strategy goes. I can't pull it up here exactly, so I apologize. Yeah, so the top four pitted on lap 161, and then you've got the two lap 149 drivers of Troiano and Ritter. That 11 to 12 lap gap, and all of a sudden gets a little bit smaller between pit stops with this yellow flag condition. So some of the strategy really starting to play out in front of us.
Yeah, it absolutely is. For those guys who pitted lap 161, you've got to think, even with cautions, I think it'll be tight. No.
Yeah, it will be. But again, this is, the first 100 laps we had 4 yellows, we've had 3 since. So I would be shocked if we went green the rest of the way. And I think Netco wants us to have a couple more yellows too.
Yeah, that's fair. The internet service issues have been rough here tonight. But yeah, hopefully the drivers are able to avoid further issues with that. But right now it hasn't looked promising, especially down there in turns 1 and 2. Excuse me.
So under yellow, we'll run you back through right before we go back to green flag racing here. Chad Frankenfield still the leader. Victor Del Porto is second. These are guys that have gained mightily since the green flag. Frankenfield up 15 spots, Del Porto up 13 as we are back to green flag racing lap 177. Frankenfield still leads the way. A little bit of a battle there from second and third on down, with Rexing getting a little bit racing. We saw him lead some laps earlier, and a side-by-side battle here a little bit back inside of that top 5 with Troiano. Ritter going at it. Nick DeGroot poking his nose in there, looking for a couple spots as well. And I believe we are back under yellow.
We are, unfortunately. So right now, cautions continue to breed cautions. We go to the Whiskey Cask replay. Mark not with us tonight, but there's that contact, and that one's actual contact out on the racetrack.
Yeah, and just very unfortunate. I believe that is couldn't quite see.
Yeah, 47 of Joseph Grijalva was the car that we followed through that incident. Other cars involved in that one. We'll slow it down here and take a look at what happened. So there he is, running side by side. That is the 22 car, I believe. Or who was that? He makes contact with. It could have been Joao Ritter, the 92, excuse me. Then there goes Nick DeGroot in the 89 car, and then that's Nicholas Sudik in that blue car, and I think that might have been Alexander Vandesant involved in that as well. That was Vandesant with contact.
The 97 of Vandesant was on the outside there, so So that all happening there just inside of the top 10. So that's going to certainly shake up the top 10. So again, as much as it's been a little bit of a pit strategy, it's been a war of attrition too, because Rish, certainly half the field has been caught up in some sort of accidents. We see it again here on the Whiskey Cast replay.
Yeah, so here it is, side by
Pushes
side
him up.
pushes him up the racetrack, and then DeGroot just kind of comes in there a little bit tight into the corner, and I think that's what ultimately sends the 47 car around. So yeah, Vanderson, your points leader, gets caught up in that. AJ Musselman looks like he just avoids that, the carnage around the racetrack. But yeah, Grijalva definitely seems to have gotten the worst end of that one.
So again, Frankenfield continues to lead. Lap 180 of 250, so 70 laps to go here. And some of the contenders just getting caught up there in an accident. Vanderson still finds himself in the 6th spot with DeGroot 7th, Musselman 8th, Ritter still being shown in 9th position, if not mistaken. So, with Pinheiro all the way towards the back, I believe he is in the 20th position. There are points to be gained here, but some of the guys in that top 5, top 10 in points having some issues.
Yeah, definitely. This could be the night where a lot of things get shaken up for drivers. In the points standings, of course, long season, so a lot of chances for guys to make it up for bad nights. But you don't love seeing this here. It's been a race of attrition for sure. For our leader, Chad Frankenfield, he's lapped everybody up to 10th place, Craig Forsyth. So top 9 all in the lead lap 2. So that also kind of needs to be taken into account here when you think about the attrition in this race and how it's played out.
Exactly. Troiano there in 5th. Remember, he started from the 2nd spot and was up at the top 2 for the first probably 50 laps or so. Vanderson, who must have just barely missed out on disaster on that last yellow, finds himself in 6th. Nick DeGroot, a guy that's been gaining spots, finds himself up 10 spots, currently in 7th. Musselman is 8th. I believe Ritter is still showing in 9th as we get ready to go back to green here. But that could change as we kind of shuffle some things around. Like I said, Forsyth, the first guy, 1 lap down, currently in the 10th spot. So, yeah, pretty much a 9-man race right now, but Del Porto, Frankenfield, and Rexing have shown that they're the class of the field here through this lap 100 to about 182 stint that we've had as the pace car ducks off.
Yeah, so pace car off the racetrack. We'll roll around for one more lap, then back to green flag racing. It is still Frankenfield up front here. And again, you kind of start looking at the Frankenfield, Del Porto, Rexing, Porcelli as maybe being the guys you'd favor to be able to pull this race win off. But we have seen so much shuffling that who knows at this point. Though on tire strategy and fuel strategy alone, they definitely seem to be in the best position. So let's follow that battle, of course, as we get going here. But also keep an eye out. Troiano Vanderson actually maintained 6th position. So despite the damage, keeping that car rolling, I'm curious to see if it'll restart just as well, because sometimes drivers don't see the front wing damage that they have on their cars, and they don't notice that until we go back to green.
So we will go back to green. Here's Frankenfield up in the lead. He's got Del Porto. And Del Porto didn't really get racy on that last restart. I know it was only 3 or 4 laps, but kind of just biding his time there in 2nd as the green flag comes back out, and a great restart here for Frankenfield. We'll see if there's a battle for 2nd as we head down into turn 1.
Yeah, there absolutely is. Here comes Rexing looking high up on the racetrack, trying to get that run on Victor Del Porto. Not going to get that job done this time around, though. Del Porto staying close to Frankenfield, so this could be a battle going on for the lead as well, not just for 2nd.
As Frankenfield kind of stretches out a little bit there, and Rexing trying to make that high line work around 1 and 2. We've seen that throughout the afternoon, but again, that low line is the preferred in 3 and 4 coming off of the front straightaway and under the flag stand there. So Frankenfield continues to lead, but he's got a lap car he's going to have to deal with here in about the next lap or 2 up in front. Oh, we got a spin, and it is the lap car right in front of him.
Who is that stationary out on the racetrack? Can't even see here. Looks like Nicholas Sudik, and he does catch some cars involved in that one. That's going to be a caution.
Who was involved in the last caution, I just said, and Chad Frankenfield probably needs this yellow to collect his thoughts. Yeah, running by yourself, but in front of the leaders,
Oh,
and Frankenfield barely gets by, slides up the racetrack. Some front wing
oh.
is clobbered hard, and that's going to ruin his day. Didn't see who that yellow and black Colton Herta looking car was.
Nick DeGroot there.
So DeGroot with absolutely nowhere to go. And, that's the 7th or 8th head-on collision that we've seen here throughout the evening. So Chad Frankenfield dodging a bullet as the leader with the lap car and a Sudik going around in front of him.
Absolutely. So for Sudik, we've seen Kairos get loose there before, but Nick DeGroot here, this is going to be a tough one to avoid. You see that car crashing up the top of the racetrack. You can't really, that's the thing. You saw him, how much of a big change he made to the steering angle on his car, and it just doesn't quite react as quick as you want it to at that speed.
Very unfortunate circumstances there. And again, Frankenfield, like I said earlier in the race, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. He's been good. He's been out front. He's gained spots. But again, right there with the spinner in front of him, goes low. Great reaction time there by Frankenfield to miss out. So, man, it's going to get dicey here over these final 60 laps.
Yeah, and so Frankenfield now makes that call to come down pit road, so changing up the strategy a little bit again. So he's going to give up track position here, all in favor of fresh tires and a fresh tank of fuel.
We'll have about 60 laps to go. And yeah, some of these guys electing to come into the pits, others looking to stay out. We'll see as they come back around here. But I think we know that the cream of the crop has now risen towards the top with Del Porto now finding himself in the lead. It's showing Chad Frankenfield in 5th. So Del Porto is your leader.
Yeah, Del Porto keeping that call to stay out on the track, while Frankenfield kind of picking that call to come down pit road here. So, yeah, split strategy again. Lap 189 to 250. We're heading into the final 60 laps of this race. Would love to see a 60-lap run, green flag to the end here, because I think for Frankenfield now, he's good to go to make it to the end.
Good to go. Yeah, I believe he is good to go to make it to the end. Pitting here on lap 187. As well as, I believe, Rexing and Troiano, who just came in as well. So they should be good to go. And also a little bit further on down with Balvans and Murphy just pitting. They should be good to go. But again, these guys up front, Del Porto, Porcello, Vandesant, Musselman, probably going to have to pit again. Will that be under yellow? You would expect it to be, right? Because we've seen yellow after yellow after yellow in this race. So different strategy calls, which has really changed, I think, Rish, what these drivers probably wanted to do going in, because going in, they didn't expect there to be this many cautions.
Yeah, we didn't expect there to be this many cautions either, right? We talked about it at the top of the show here. The last time we were here, just 2 caution flags in an hour and a half long race. We've already passed that hour and a half mark right now, sitting at hour 40 with still 60 laps to go here. So still some margin to go in this one, assuming it goes green to the end.
Which I'm assuming it's not going to happen.
Fair enough. After what we've seen on these past couple of restarts, that is not a surprising or very shocking, I think, statement there.
Which is wild, like we just talked about. So we will see what happens here, and it's going to get down to the nitty gritty now. Now you're not going to sit back and just kind of hold your position now, especially guys like Chad Frankenfield. You've got fresh tires. Can you move up? I mean, I liked the call right there by Frankenfield to come in and pit. You only fall back to 5th. You've got fresher tires coming up onto this restart. You really set yourself up nicely here. I think if you're Frankenfield, Rexing, and Troiano, who just came into pit and are good to go the rest of the way. So, yeah, we'll see how that plays out as we get ready to go back to green here.
Yep, so back to it. Victor Del Porto underway. Leads the field to as car goes around there. Who was that? That was a lapped car.
Was that a lap car or was
Or
that
no, it was Craig Forsyth.
Forsyth? So Forsyth goes around and brings out another yellow. So I think those guys that didn't pit that are leading will now certainly find themselves coming down pit road to get the last service of the evening.
What happened here? Same thing. That same net
Yeah.
code.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Didn't collect anybody else, which is probably the first time we've seen that tonight. That somebody else hasn't been collected in another driver's mess. So another yellow, and I think we'll see the leaders, Del Porto, Purcelli, Musselman, these guys, Vanderson, make themselves available to come down pit road.
Absolutely, yeah. So Del Porto not coming down that time by, but whether or not pit road was open, we don't know. We see Vandesant on pit road there, but he might have gone into a closed pit road. We'll see. But yeah, this definitely makes sense to come down pits here and grab that last set of tires. But maybe Del Porto is going to think of a different strategy than that one.
Del Porto, Porcelli, Musselman, your top three. Frankenfield grabs a spot, I believe, on the restart to move himself up into the fourth position. So I think Frankenfield is in the driver's seat here to find himself with the best chance over the next 55 laps or so to get a win. So 195 complete as they come around here. Victor Del Porto in the lead, followed by David Porcello. He's up 3 spots. Del Porto has moved up 14 spots to the lead. Musselman now third. He has dodged a few bullets here throughout the evening. Chad Frankenfield is fifth. And Ritter, Rexing, Troiano, Vandesant, and Balvans there in ninth, with Mark Murphy now finding himself inside of the top 10. A lot of these drivers on different pit stop strategies, the top 3 have not pitted for a little bit here, I believe since lap 161 for the top 2. And then you go to 179 for Musselman and Frankenfield, who just took advantage of that last yellow flag to come down and get fuel and tires. So he should be set for the remainder of the race. Pace car lights still on here. In the Phoenix 250, the Elite Racing League, the Elite Racing Network. Don't forget to like and subscribe as we continue to race throughout, like as Rish mentioned, almost every night here. We're going to have an exciting 50-lap shootout. I'm sure we'll see a few more cautions, but it's going to be an exciting 50 laps here as we decide this one tonight.
Yeah, unfortunately, probably going to see a few more cautions here, but that's kind of been the story of the night so far. It's kind of been, yeah, that confusion on restarts for drivers has caused problems, and that net code really making a large part of tonight. Hopefully, race control has been talking to the drivers about what's been going on, and hopefully race control has noticed the issues that have happened down in turn number 1 with the net code issue, and just telling drivers, hey, maybe give each other just a little bit more room in that corner there. Race each other just as much on the rest of the track, but around there, you probably want to be a little bit more careful, as that's what we've been seeing all night long.
The pace car peels off, so we will go back to green on lap 198 of 250. The Phoenix 250 here. Rish, we did this at about the lap 125 mark. 50 to go. Who's in the catbird seat to take this one tonight?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Tough.
It really switches up on you so many times here. It's really hard to say. I mean, Del Porto obviously, I don't know actually. Frankenfield probably looks the best of any of these guys here. Has the best or has the most fuel, freshest tires, running P4, the highest of those guys who pitted most recently. Ritter, your US 500 winner, is also over here from last week. Jared Rexing in that order as well. So any of those 3, I think, are probably your most likely winners out of this one.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see with Frankenfield knowing that he's good to go to the end as we go back to green. flag here. You know, if it's later in the stint and these guys make it in under yellow, do you stay out and maybe you're a sitting duck, or do you pit with these guys? So I think you got to pounce here on the restart and gain a few positions as Del Porto gets off to a very fast restart there. We got a battle for it looks like the 6th position as they tuck in the single file. But again, Del Porto leads it with Porcelli second, Musselman third, Chad Frankenfield fourth. But looking to make some moves here and find himself into the top 3.
Yeah, Frankenfield looking high now on A.J. Musselman in front of him, and now Rexing also doing the same on Joao Ritter in front of him. But right now, everybody's single filed out as we do finally tick over to lap 200. So we're just 50 laps to go in this one, and yeah, we'll see how this one works out with guys on those fresher tires. How much of an advantage do you actually get here? Chad Frankenfield's about to find out as he goes to the inside of A.J. Musselman to 3 and 4.
And he will look to make that spot. And if I'm not mistaken here, yeah, they're going to the inside. But good to see, Rish. You know, we got some guys running on the outside making that work as well. As Frankenfield, who is right there in that blue and yellow car, continuing to try to make ways back up towards the front as he is all over the back of, I believe that is Musselman, but is there a lap car? Oh, we got some smoke ahead as well.
Smoke out there, but they're on the apron. I think that was a lapped car. Had some issues there. It was Ryan Schold who was involved in that previous incident. But he's off the racetrack. We stay green for now.
Interesting here. I mean, Frankenfield, yeah, so he's going to lose a spot, and he's got the fresher tires. But you know, these other cars that are out there that are a little bit lighter with less fuel load that are still gonna have to come in. If you're Frankenfield, you're going, all right, if this stays green, these guys got to pit again. How racy do I really want to get?
Yeah, and you got to watch yourself right here. This looks like a very similar situation to what we've seen before, but giving each other room there. That's important there through turns 1 and 2. And Frankenfield trying to hold out on the top lane. The question is he really now burning through that right front tire of his by doing this and running lap after lap after lap on the top lane? He does finally clear Joao Ritter, but at what cost? But can he pull Jared Rexing with him too? Yeah,
it looks like Rexing's going to come with him as he pulls down to the inside. Frankenfield will try to set his sights on pulling away a little bit, but Rexing's been right there on his back T-bar the entire time. They get real close there, heading into 3 and 4 as they pass the start-finish line here to mark off another lap with about 44 to go. We'll see how long these guys that haven't pitted that are inside that top 4, how long do they stay out? Because they're probably thinking, well, we can wait maybe 10 to 15 more laps. And hopefully there'll be another caution because that's just kind of been the trend so far here tonight.
Absolutely, but for Rexing, he's just made that pass on Chad Frankenfield now as well, and so those two are on identical tire strategies and identical fuel strategies. Both came down lap 187 last as Frankenfield maybe tapped the wall there coming out of turn number 2, but Rexing now with the advantage here, and you imagine. If we do go green to the end here, he would be the de facto leader, but we still have a lot of racing to go and 3 cars in front of him that he still technically needs to pass there. A.J. Musselman close on strategy to these guys as Frankenfield right now struggling. Ritter to the inside.
Yeah, Ritter back to the inside there, so the spot that Frankenfield just took about 2 laps ago, Ritter takes right back, and if you're Chad Frankenfield, I mean, how much are you burning your stuff up right now battling guys that you know, you want to get ahead of, but they also have to pit, whether that's under yellow or green is yet to be determined. And looks like Troiano now going to look to the inside and take that spot back. And they got uber close there, but no contact between the two.
I don't know how there wasn't contact between those cars. I thought they were both going around there. Man.
40 to go here, which will tick by very, very quickly if this stays green. Troiano on that same strategy, I believe, as Frankenfield. So technically, Rish, if this were to go green, and assuming the drivers in 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and even 5th have to pit, if not mistaken, this would be for the win. But Musselman, who is in 2nd, is on the same strategy, pitting on lap 179 as Chad Frankenfield and Troiano are. So this is technically maybe for that 2nd and 3rd spot.
So Rexing is on that same strategy as Frankenfield too. So Yeah, right now it's Del Porto and Porcelli who are first and third, who are kind of the guys who are a little bit off sequence from the rest of them.
Yeah.
They've got to be hoping for that caution to come out, as Del Porto now is at risk of losing a spot here to Jared Rexing potentially. But it's pretty close between these guys, and when you consider the difference in strategy and the difference in advantage between tires, fuel, all that stuff. Expect to see potentially Rexing making a move here on that car of Victor Del Porto relatively soon here. Surprisingly, Del Porto actually holding on to the back of Musselman, who's on fresher tires, but Rexing high up. He really likes that high line through 1 and 2, even here through 3 and 4, and it gives him a great run down the front and back straightaway.
Yeah, and you get into that little dog leg right there, and all of a sudden you're on the back of the guy in front of you. And he's going to block that move a little bit, going a little bit higher than what the line that he has been running. So we'll see if Rexing can do it. But again, still leading with a gap of about 0.4 seconds. He hasn't pitted since lap 161. So coming up on, stretching it out, but you know he's going to have to come, and he won't be able to make it with another stop.
Yeah, definitely not. That's going to be a
Yellow.
little bit too
We are
far
yellow.
out there. Ooh. Let's take a look and see if we can find out who that was. Just missed it. It is Joseph Grijalva.
Into
Take
the
a look at
outside wall. So
yeah, see if we can figure out where that started on the racetrack.
he's well off the pace
here. Yeah.
And it just washes up. And now he's a moving chicane. And
what the
I think he was looked like he was trying to get out of the racing line and get below that yellow line to bring it in, and probably looked at his mirror, got a little too close, and just overcorrected. As you look here, he drifts up.
Watch this, though. He's going to turn directly into the 83 car, though. Look at that. And then there's obviously a huge amount of net code, but that was never going to work for that 47 car. I'm sorry. I am going to start calling drivers out on this at this point. I don't know what the 47 driver was doing there.
Yeah, it almost was like he was trying to get to the inside and didn't know that car had charged up underneath him. And once he noticed it was too late, he overcorrected. But yeah, just maybe a mental mistake there towards the end of this one, as we see it there on the Whiskey Cask replay. And now we've got some of those drivers dipping down the pit road, others showing pit and then bailing out at the last second. So looks like one car took to the pit road. I can't tell exactly who that is. Was it Musselman? I'm not sure.
Yeah, Musselman just came down pit road. Vanderson also down pit road here. Del Porto not coming down pit road. Interestingly enough, and same with Porcelli. Both of them who are on who are on much older, tires and fuel, still staying out. I'm really curious about that call there by those guys.
Well, I'm thinking, look, if you are up front, your only chance to win this thing is to stay up front and then maybe get a late race yellow where drivers behind you maybe say, okay, well, these two guys are going to take the lead. But, Rich, there's only, if I can do this real quick, is there only 8 cars on the lead lap?
That is correct. That's what we have so far.
So we remember this at Iowa a few years ago. So if you can stretch this as far as you can, and you got a pit, you're only going to fall back to 8. So if you're a guy like Chad Frankenfield or Eric Troiano, do you say, all right, I'm going to move up and take the track position and try to hold them off on tires that have been out there longer than the others, or do I come in and get fresh tires to even it out and just go racing with these guys like Porcelli and Del Porto that will have fresh tires maybe later in the descent, because we are going to get another yellow or two. So it'll be interesting to see if there's a yellow around, I don't know, let's say lap 235, 240, if you stay out, if you're somebody like Frankenfield, or do you come in with those leaders and get the extra or get the fresher tires and just go racing for that last 10 laps?
Yeah, man, it's an interesting call here. With just 8 cars on the lead lap, I mean, you can wait, I guess, a little bit, but I don't know if I love this call again, because you're caught out completely. I mean, when are these guys going to run out of fuel? unless our timing and scoring is giving us some, some false information here, I mean, they've got to be running out here within the next 10 or 15 laps, without a
Yeah.
doubt.
Yeah, but we did see some drivers go 65? No, I'm sorry, 75 laps earlier with all the yellows. So you go back to these leaders who last pitted on lap 161. So you're at about 60 laps right here. I think you hold out for maybe one more yellow flag and then you bring it in.
Yeah, I mean, you got to now hope that you get that yellow flag, right? I mean, obviously, I think the current trend
The
seems
trend.
to be favoring, that we will have one, but who knows? You could have a little bit of a run here towards the end with 30 to go.
Let's see if Rexing can get a run here. He's been working that high line as we talked about. In that last set, he's been working that high line. He's got a little bit fresher tires than the guys in front of him by about 25 to 26, 27 laps. So we'll see if he pounces here and tries to get that lead spot as he goes to the inside as we're back to green flag racing with 32 to go.
Yeah, Rexing to the inside. Can he hold it off? This is not his preferred move. He likes that outside lane, but right now Rexing trying to do something. He's got to know, though, I think on whether he's got a crew chief up in his ear or he's got someone helping him out or he has just kind of that indication on his screen that these guys need to pit again. There is no situation where they make it to the end of this race without pitting. So do you just let them fight it out amongst each other? Because that seems to be what they're about to do as well.
Yeah, let them get racing in front of you as they're doing. The leaders in Porcello and Del Porto going side by side there with 25 laps to go here. Yeah, but you also got to keep, right behind you at bay. Ritter's right there. Frankenfield is a little bit further back. But if you're Rexing, I think if you can make that upper lane work coming through 1 and 2, as you'll see right here, as they head into 1 and 2 right here. He's been making that high line work, and the move there gets blocked. He goes a little bit higher, but just simply can't get the run. We'll see if he gets it off the corner here.
Yeah, really high up the racetrack for Rexing there. He finds those higher lanes that you never think are going to work, but he managed to get grip there. But yeah, yellow flag on the track, and two big names I think involved in this one. Eric Triano, AJ Musselman caught up in that. Triano, Musselman into turn number 1 and contact there. Hard into the wall for both of them.
Yeah, battle inside of the top 10. Triano, a guy who found himself top 2 pretty much the entire first quarter or so of this race. And yeah, just kind of stuck his nose in there a little bit too late, it looked like, and really had nowhere to go when that gap closed, and Musselman goes hard into the wall. Yeah, he was just kind of looking, and then never really lifted, kind of went for it. It's a difference between, 150 laps to go or now with just 20 laps to go. So tough there, but these top 2 leaders should end up coming down pit road. We'll see if anybody else follows them with 24 to go.
Yeah, we'll take a look. So this time by, they don't come down, but I don't believe pit road has been opened quite yet for them. So we'll see this time if they decide to come. Otherwise, I might be convinced that they think they can make it to the end.
I would be stunned, as we talked about.
Yeah.
But again, I'm more interested to see if Rexing and Frankenfield, if they come in as well to be equally as fresh of tires as those 2 leaders. Because now with that accident, there was 8 cars on the lead lap, and now I believe we are down to just 9, if not mistaken. So the worst you're going to do is fall back to 9th, which with 2 cars in front of you that have fresher tires. So very interesting strategy call coming up here. And nothing yet. Oh, man.
Wow.
Is something wrong with Rexing here? Is he just a little off the pace? Yeah, maybe just a little off the pace there in third. I don't know. Maybe they can make it. Maybe there's been enough yellows that you feel like you could stretch it out to.
Yeah.
I thought we saw 75 to 80 with yellows. That's still going to be 4 or 5 laps short, however.
Yeah. I don't know how this is going to work out. I 100% think they're going to be short, but maybe not.
But two more yellows, and maybe they can make it.
Yeah, could be. As the pace car lights are on, though, we'll step away one last time before we bring you guys all the action to finish out this Phoenix 250 here on the Elite Racing Network.
Coming back to the green flag here with just 19 laps to go in the Phoenix 250, the Elite Racing League. And it's going to be a shootout towards the finish. Do the top two have enough to make it the distance? Can the guys third on back pounce? We're back under green, and it is a quick move here as Rexing looks to get aggressive on the inside of 1 and 2. We know he likes the high side, and he's going to gain that spot, but back around comes Del Porto. A battle here for second.
Yeah, Rexing aggressive to the inside. He likes to peek to the inside on those restarts, but let's see now if he can set himself up with an outside lane.
And this is where he's been the quickest, is in 1 and 2 going high. Obviously, Del Porto knows now that's the move he's going to make. So Del Porto's been taking a little bit of a higher line to try to break that momentum. But again, 18 laps to go. Will we see another yellow? Can these top two make it as Rexing all over the back of Del Porto to the inside? Look, can he make it stick? And again, that outside hole shot, Del Porto maintains the second spot.
Yeah, so good defensive driving here from Del Porto on those older tires. Potentially having to even fuel save a little bit here, but I mean, lap time wise, he's not. He just put his personal best lap of the race in for Victor Del Porto, a 19.44, faster than Jared Rexing that last time by. Del Porto now trying to chase down Portelli for maybe even the race win here. Again, these guys have been on these tires and this fuel tank since lap 161, and Del Porto sets the fastest lap of the race, period.
And he is in the slipstream in tow of the leader. Porcello, the leader, and then Del Porto looking to the inside here for the lead. Is he out of field? Do we have the first driver out of field? That's a lap car. I'm sorry. Yep. So, yes, so a lap car there. I was like, wait a minute, that was a quick move. So again, 14 laps to go. He's got the fastest car on the track. Can he make that pass? And look now in fourth is Ritter. He's found himself in that fight for the lead here in the top four spots.
Yeah, now tick over 13 laps to go here for Porcelli. You've got to imagine now at this point, these guys are pushing. They're making it to the end of this race. There's no way they're putting a green flag stop on this. So somehow, by some miracle, Porcelli and Del Porto stretch out the fuel that long to make it to the end of this one. And yeah, now at this point, it's going to be more so just now who races it out and goes for the win, because I think Del Porto is going to look more and more aggressive here. Dips that left side tires onto the yellow line, and he's right there on the 93 car now.
So Del Porto in second, looking for the lead. 11 laps to go at the line. Will the top two have enough? They last pitted on lap 161. So that would be a stretch of 89 laps to get to the end. We have seen a lot of cautions since then, and they're battling out for the lead. And a guy with fresher tires and Rexing has not been able to gain. In fact, he is falling back a ways, and it's a 2-car breakaway for the lead here with 10 laps to go.
Yeah, that's kind of incredible from these two guys up front about what they were able to pull off or have been able to pull off so far tonight. This pace right here is just kind of the icing on the cake for them as they go by lapped car there.
It looks like there's 2 other lap cars ahead that I think if this stays green over this final 9 laps, they will have to deal with. You see them there about a half straightaway ahead. So lap traffic could become a factor in deciding who wins this race with just 8 laps to go now.
Yeah, so here we go. Del Porto running out of laps to really get to the back of Porcelli. So trying to see what he can do. Del Porto second in the championship here. He's looking to make some big inroads on Alexander Vanderson, but Vanderson has recovered to 6th position after issues earlier in the race. There's that first laps car. Now they have one more.
One pull to the inside down that back straightaway last time by, got out of the way. So I think you got almost a full straightaway before you get to the next car. So I don't think that it will be a factor. And if so, you would hope, Rich, for that common courtesy like we just saw to kind of just pull over, get out of the way, and let these leaders battle it out over the final 5 laps.
Yeah, you'd absolutely hope so. So now it is just a straight-up dogfight between these two drivers here. A reminder for those watching at home, we're getting close to that point where even if there is a caution, there's no green-white checkers in IndyCar. So if there is a caution late in this race, the race will, in fact, end under caution. But right now, as things stand, 5 to go here. Porcelli looks to be expanding his lead on Del Porto.
Yeah, he got around that lap car. Got around that lap car a little bit quicker than Del Porto, who is settling into second. But if you're going to pounce and get him, you got to do it now with just 4 laps to go. Another lap car up ahead, peels down out of the way on the apron. So kudos to who that lap car was. But again, the distance now as we go on board with our leader, Porcello, he is pulling away here with 3 laps to go. And Rish, it looks like the gamble to stay out and try to stretch the fuel as of right now is playing into the factor of this race and playing right in the hands of Porcello for the win.
Absolutely, yeah. For him, this is and for Del Porto to talk to both of these guys, I think is going to be really interesting about this strategy. And I mean, for all we know, we could have just calculated the fuel numbers wrong the entire race long. But I'm surprised more people didn't go with this strategy, because they were the only 2 who went with this strategy. And look at that, they are the top 2 finishers in this race if it stays the way things are right now. 1 to go for David Porcelli. It is the Whiskey Cast last call final lap of this Phoenix 250. And David Porcelli, Victor Del Porto, both of whom pitted last on lap 161. We're now on lap 250. Have somehow made those tires and that fuel tank last all the way to the end for Victor Porcelli. That's it. It is race victory here in the Phoenix 250.
Great use of the fuel strategy there to get to the end, save what you can, and to go 89 laps. Congratulations to David Porcelli on the victory of the number 93 car there, moving up a few spots from his starting spot, moving up 4. Great run for Victor Del Porto, great points day. He moves up 13 spots. Then you got Rexing finishing in 3rd, Ritter 4th, and Chad Frankenfield, who we saw pit from the lead, will find himself with a top 5, finishing 5th. But I'm sure he will tell you that he wishes there would have been more, and maybe that now looking back that he would have stayed out and kept the lead. So David Porcello your winner here, and he will burn them down on the Elite Racing League, the Elite Racing Network here on YouTube.
Absolutely. They're definitely a deserved winner. Didn't talk about him much earlier in the race, but incredible strategy playing out, and of course had the pace to hold off a hard-charging Victor Del Porto and even that hard-charging Jared Rexing. We know Rexing was a strong car all race as well, so certainly a great pace and great strategy. Combine those two together, and it turns into a fantastic win here in the Phoenix 250.
We will certainly try to talk to him and get a little bit more educated on that last stint of being able to make it 89 laps on that set of tires and in that tank of fuel. So here's your final result: 250 with David Porcelli, winning, and Del Porto in second. Rexing, Ritter, Frankenfield, your top five. Good day for Vanderson in sixth. And then on down there, Justin Fortner finds himself at ninth after a little bit of a hiccup midway through the race. So David Porcelli picking up the victory in the number 93. I can't read the entry there, but the number 93 car.
Yeah, number 93, Gran Premio Esports. And so we will bring him in now and speak to our race winner. David, congratulations, man. Incredible race. And most importantly for you and Victor up front, incredible strategy and fuel saving. Last pitted lap 161. Talk us through that last stint, saving fuel, saving tires, and still having enough pace to go on to win the race.
Oh man, I'm just so elated. Just give me a second here to collect myself. Yeah, the past 2 weeks in this season of iRacing, I have missed out on wins and podiums from fuel saving in the IndyCar at Long Beach and at Road Atlanta. So I had a strong feeling seeing the length of the stints that an aggressive fuel strategy was in the cards. When that first pit stop came out, though, it sort of threw it out the door. And then I realized I was stopping with 90 laps to go, and we were just having cautions like every 10, 15 laps. So I was just in map 8 or map 5 for the majority of that stint trying to save the gas, and I finished with 1.3 gallons left in the tank, which is about 4 laps.
Wow.
At what point, when you last pitted on lap 161, were you dead set on making it the rest of the way, or was there a fourth or fifth caution where you looked at it and said, all right, now I think I can make it? Because we did see Frankenfield come in from the lead, and then you inherited it. At what point over that last final 90 laps did you know that you were good to go?
It was about the first caution that I had to make the decision. The only way you're going to make that type of strategy is if you're doing it with the majority of the tank. So I think the first time I did a calculation is when I had 17.4 gallons in the tank. So it must have been 10 laps in max when I started trying to make it to the end.
Wow. Well, an incredible job fuel saving there all the way to the end. It results in your first win here in the Elite Mega Driver IndyCar Series. You join a pretty elite group of drivers there, and of course, heading into the Indy 500 in just a couple, we head into really our preparation now for the Indy 500 Indy GP. Certainly the right kind of momentum to have behind you. So while we have you up here in the booth, we do want to give you a chance to make some shout outs on the air.
Well, first, shout out to the league. I'm super honored to be here and be competing with, some of the best drivers in the IR18 in the iRacing service. So thanks so much. Thank you guys for the broadcast. I want to shout out Team Watson Racing and Racecraft One Indianapolis. And as always, hi to the family. And that's it. Thanks so much, guys.
All right. Well, congratulations again. Race winner, David Porcelli. All right. Let's bring in then second place finisher Victor Del Porto with us tonight. Victor, we talked to David about it. Both of you were on the same strategy. A lot of fuel saving towards the end of the race. How'd you make it work?
Good evening, Rish and Tony. It was very difficult because when I pitted, I think with 80 or 75 to go, I was thinking about many yellows, but the race was kind of clean, certainly, and I thought I was possible to end stopping pit one more time. But with these many yellows, I was trying to save much more fuel to to end the race.
Victor, they're late in the race. It looked like you were in position to pounce to take the lead, but then Porcello kind of stretched it out a little bit. We know you're up there in the points and you want to win, and you didn't get the win tonight, but pretty good to finish second, and that really helps you in the point standings.
Yeah, I was thinking about this because of this strategy. I was more about to finish the race in second or third. I know lose some points was very terrible when I lose some position, but crash is worse than this. So when I saw David in the last restart, and I was trying to close the gap, I thought he was saving fuel. I didn't know if he was saving fuel in the last restart, but it gave me some how can I say some I forgot the word.
No worries.
But I was think about pass him, but second place was very, very nice for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Cannot be upset with a second place finish there, Victor. And of course, good momentum. Close the gap a little bit to Alex in the championship points, and of course, heading into to Indy 500 month. Now you're starting to get into of course, building up that momentum to go out and race there in Indy. But want to give you a chance to shout out here on the air, and you're getting used to doing these here this season, especially.
This is amazing for me because I think it was my most constant season in Mega Drive and in Elite Racing League. So I want to thank you, my team, Beneporto Pro Racing, my sponsor Pro Race Simuladores is a organization here in Brazil who built cockpits, wells, direct drives, and the pedals. So access the website proracesimuladores.com.br. My friends Thiago Benedetti, Sandra Orions, Eric Macedo, Thiago Maicon, Alex. I want to invite all of you to follow my Twitch channel. My Twitch channel is Victor Del Porto Racer. And that's it. Congrats to Jared. He was very nice with me because the battle was very clean. We was so close to crash, but was very clean. In a class act, he sent a message for me during the race saying he was a clean driver, never got or he spent his time trying to always be clean. So thank you very much, Jared, and congrats for you and David and David too. Congrats, David.
All right. Well, congratulations, Victor Del Porto. P2 finish here at the Phoenix 250. All right, and then last but not least, we'll bring in our third place finisher, Jared Rexing. Jared, great day for you in the office. Maybe a little bit upset that you weren't able to pull off the win there at the end, but talk us through tonight's race, kind of managing those cautions, and then what you had at the end for those guys who are on that little bit of a different strategy, and when it dawned on you that they might be able to stay out and make it work on 90-lap old tires.
Yeah, that was in all the chaos, it was still a lot of fun racing. I thought, at least. I really didn't expect that much attrition tonight. But it was pretty racy. I mean, it was really hard to pass, but you could set things up and you could do a little bit manipulating the air and whatnot. But all in all, it was really fun. As far as the end of that race goes, though, I had no clue they were gonna make it, because when I pitted, I was right on the number to make it to the end if it went green. And I know there's a lot of cautions, but I didn't think they could save that much. But so good for them. But it was good to come home third at least.
And Jared, you mentioned you were kind of dicing and making moves. It seemed like your car really worked well on the high side, especially in 1 and 2. When did you know that you could make that top groove work?
Well, I'd been running that top through 1 and 2 all practice, and to be honest, I really thought I thought everyone was going to be up there in the race. So when it was open for me every lap, I'm like, okay, I mean, thanks guys. But I mean, I couldn't hold it on the bottom wide open. I'd either wash up or I'd get loose off a two. So that was my thing, and it kept working for me. They kept opening it up. So thanks.
Well, hey, Jared, we love the opportunity to talk to you here in the IndyCar series, and want to give you the chance to make some shout outs while you're here on the air.
Yeah, shout out to race control. There was some controversial things that happened throughout the race as far as pitch opening up and not opening up. But I think everything went smoothly. Everything went good, and good win to David. And yes, shout out to my wife. I always got to shout her out when I do good. She's my biggest fan, and yeah, shout out to you guys for doing the broadcast. I appreciate the broadcast. It's always cool to go back and watch these, and you guys do a great job.
Absolutely, man. Well, congratulations, P3 here at Phoenix. All right, that's our top 3 finishers here tonight. Phoenix 250 done. Tony, a bit of a longer race than I think we thought it was going to be. A few more cautions than we expected, but still a really intriguing race to follow. Only 6 cars ended up finishing on the lead lap there, but really cool to see 2 guys playing a little bit of a different strategy, getting those top 2 spots at the end of it versus everybody else.
Yeah, we kind of talked about it, in that first couple of cautions. We kind of realized, okay, this is the way this is going to go, and I think that kind of played out through some of the different strategies that we saw. I mean, I think we had 3 sets of different strategies as far as when drivers were pitting, and then those 2 drivers. Congratulations to the top 2 and Porcelli and Del Porto for making it work, making it stick over those last 90 laps, and a great finish towards the end. Went green there, the final 15 to 20 laps. So that was good to see. Appreciate being here. Appreciate you helping out, Rish, and putting this on with us as well on the Elite Racing Network. And you guys want some IndyCar action and some IndyCar news, don't forget to head on over to burnoutsports.com.
Absolutely. Thanks so much there, Tony. And with that, I think we'll call it a night here from Phoenix Raceway. Thank you all so much for tuning in tonight to the Elite Mega Driver 86 IndyCar Series, 5th round of that. And of course, we have to shout out our fantastic premier sponsors at the Elite Racing League, C2 Freight Resources, Blue Egg Marketing, and Powerhouse Recycling. I've been Rish of Kosla, joined in the booth by Tony Donahue, and we were happy to bring you this race here. Congratulations again to the race winner and our podium finishers, Porcelli, Del Porto, and Rexing. And with that, good night.